Okay, see, I thought if I wouldn't look at you, you wouldn't be able to pull it off. It's a Monday morning. Welcome back. You're hanging out in the break room. Rochester's Classic Rock 96.5, WCMF. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good, buddy.
What's going on, female buddy?
Doing good, buddy.
18 degrees right now. Feels like 8, but it will get up to 26-ish.
Oh, wow.
And we're not getting above freezing, it looks like, for a high until next week.
Ooh.
So that's okay.
Right.
Still feels all right. Why does it feel like a dark cloud has been lifted from over the world this morning? Oh, how glorious was that? How glorious. Just rub it all over all of the sensitive parts of my body. It feels so good. We have time.
All right.
We will get into this game later. However, by the way, I know there are a lot of people that didn't watch the game at all. If you are just waking up and decided to boycott the Super Bowl, the Eagles blew the Chiefs out 40-22.
Not even close.
And it wasn't even that close. The
So-
last 2 touchdowns the Chiefs scored were pretend touchdowns.
Because we were talking about blowouts,
Yeah.
and the last time there was a Super Bowl it's been a while, right?
I can't remember the
Because
last.
they used to all be blowouts
Blue.
back
Yep.
in the day.
Yeah.
When was the last time the Gatorade was poured on the coach with 3 minutes left in the game?
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. By the way, yellow/green if that was your prop bet yesterday. So, yeah, if you boycotted the game, the Eagles kicked the crap out of the Chiefs, and we will get to more of it later.
All right.
But before we do, you've been around a lot longer than I have.
Yeah.
You have a lot more experience with women than I do. You have a lot more experience with marriage. So maybe you can give me some insight as to what is going on in every woman's head
What happened?
when it comes to this specific thing.
Yeah.
So Sunday morning, my wife, she wants to go to church.
Yeah.
And my daughters are they have like a special event at church.
Oh, all right.
They're a part of, right? So
Okay.
we're gonna go, and we have to be there right at a specific time. So I get the kids up early because they're girls, and it takes them forever to get ready. Despite the fact that I got them up at 6, and we had to leave the house at 8:30,
Yeah.
we were somehow still late.
Okay.
Because 2.5 hours is not enough time for 3 women to get ready to go to
2.5
church.
hours, wow.
2.5 hours. Tom.
Wow.
2.5
That's
hours.
longer than actual church.
Yes, it is. It's actually 2,
Churches?
1.5 time. Doesn't matter.
All right.
So we get into the car. I'm already stressed out because I've got that Catholic guilt in me from when I was a kid. You
Yeah.
cannot be late for church.
Well, you go to hell.
Exactly. You got to put your finger in the holy water. It's like punching in for work. And if you're late, they dock you spirit pay.
Right.
So we get in the car, and my wife, she goes, well, take my car. I go, fine. So we jump in. She goes, oh, I might need gas.
On the way to church?
On the way to church. So I'm
You're already running late.
So I'm hoping, like, we got a quarter tank. We're good, right? I'm hoping
Yeah.
to see a quarter tank. I hit the start.
Yeah, how much?
The gas light is on, and her little thingy
You
says...
live like 50 at that point, maybe.
Oh, no, 50 would have been glorious. Her dash says 15 miles.
Yeah, it'll give you the actual miles.
Yes, 15 miles to empty tank.
Yeah.
She could not have had less gas in the car.
Yeah.
I don't
So
even...
it's just like a little trickle at the bottom of the tank.
Tommy, I mean,
Just a tease.
think about it. If you
Like,
get...
I don't even know how it gets it up to the engine at that point.
I mean, like, if you get 30 miles to the gallon, she's got $1 of gas
Yes.
in the gas tank. So here's what's really frustrating for me,
What?
right? Like, forget the fact that we're late,
Yeah.
right? And I'm the one yesterday morning in the freezing cold that's got to stand outside in a suit
Yep.
and pump gas. My wife was out driving around all day on Saturday.
Yep.
Literally all day, looking at her gas tank. In fact, there was a point where she was driving and the gas light went on.
Yep.
I can tell you what happened.
Please tell me.
It started snowing.
Yeah.
Have you
I
s-
guarantee you,
The gas
weather
light, you
got
can't-
the weather got bad. She
pumps
thought,
don't work.
I'll deal with this later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've done this. The
Oh.
worse the weather, the less likely I am to get gas, which should not go that way.
It's the opposite,
I know.
actually. Do you go to those gas pumps that doesn't have the awning over it?
Yeah, but I don't
wanna
wanna
stand in
deal.
the cold.
It's cold and windy.
Why are women so bad, wives and girlfriends especially, at putting gas in their car?
It's been like that since day one. It has to be something with the nozzle or something.
Is that what
They
it
just don't
is?
want to touch anything like that. They do. They treat that nozzle like it's a stranger's penis. They want nothing
Why
to do
does
with
it always come back to penis with you?
it. It's all about the penis in the end.
He's got penis on the brain.
Yeah. Always have. Always will. No, but I mean, my wife's the same way. She doesn't want to get gas, or she runs it right down to the end. Or like, we took a trip one time where she was driving. We're going to the Finger Lakes and coming back, and we were already. I go, you got to pull over. We got to get gas. She said, oh, it's too expensive. I want to go. I'll go to BJ's tomorrow. I said, you ain't got tomorrow in the tank.
Put
You ain't
that
got
on a
tomorrow.
T-shirt.
Ain't no
tank.
tomorrow in this tank. I'll get the gas penis and I'll do it. Jesus, come on. And it stresses me out. And I don't get why they're not stressed about it. Like, of all the things my wife stresses about, she doesn't stress about.
Thank you. Because it is the one thing you should stress about. Because if your car stops running, now you got to get out of your car and walk to go get gas.
Well, she don't. You do.
Okay.
Because wherever your wife runs out of gas, you're going to have to go get gas and bring it to her. She ain't going to hoof it to the station and get one of those, what do they call them? Jerry can things for the gas.
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah.
I always called it Big Red.
Yeah, the Big Red.
All right, so then maybe as a man union, we should all get together and decide, come home today, tell our wives and girlfriends, look, I love you, and I'll do anything for you. But if you knowingly get in the car, not get gas, and run out of gas, I'm not coming. It's on you. God bless. Good luck.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Well, we can, because that'll stop this whole I don't have gas nightmare that we're all living in.
You know why?
Why is that?
Because you're being mean.
No, I'm not being mean.
You're being mean. I don't want to be stressed. You're being mean.
What blows my mind, because here's the thing. I don't mind getting gas for my wife's car, right? When we are not already 5 minutes late because you three ladies can't get ready in 2.5 hours. What boggles my mind is I met my wife when she was 29 years old.
Yeah.
She was in residency. She had not only completed 4 years of undergraduate, she had gone to an Ivy League medical school and was given an MD.
Yes.
She was a doctor.
Pretty
Quite
impressive.
impressive.
Right, okay. Yeah. She had lived as an independent human being for 29 years.
Never ran out of gas, I hear.
I doubt it.
Didn't need it.
She wouldn't tell me.
Yeah.
But how did you go your whole life before you met me? What I would assume, putting gas in your tank, and then the second I show up, I'm not doing it anymore. Doesn't make any sense.
She doesn't need to worry about it anymore.
Well, do you guys, when you go places, though, do you usually take your car? Is that...
We'll go back and forth. Oh. But no, we take her car on a regular basis enough. And she insisted on taking her car yesterday. She wanted to take her car. She's convinced her car gets warmer faster. Which is a whole other argument.
Well, you can't put the heat on, though, when you're that low on gas.
Yeah, nope.
I have no idea if that goes, but
we'll
that's just my theory.
Let's go with it. 252 WCMF. Yesterday morning, we're running out. My wife wants to go to church. Super late. We get in the car. She goes, we might need gas in her car. Might need it.
Might.
I turn it on. Not only is the gas light on, the dash says 15 miles to empty tank. To the point where I was legitimately nervous because I don't even know how real that is.
Yeah, I know.
I was afraid I was going to be in a suit and tie walking down, Lehigh Station Road, having to go get gas.
Because you think like if you have like a glass of something that you're with a straw, you're trying to like get that last little bit out. You gotta like maneuver around the straw. Like, how does the gas get up when it's that low to the engine?
It's a great question. Well, I know what it feels like because you've run out of gas before.
Yeah, and it sucks.
Yes, but here's
in Kentucky at night.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I forgot you had to walk down the
7 miles.
You can almost feel your engine trying to suck out that lead, like and we're done.
And then it just goes silent.
Have you ever run out of gas, Kimmy?
Well, I have not.
She ran out of gas on the honeymoon.
I have not, but growing up, I had a friend who drove a car that the gas tank thing was broken. So I think there was at least twice where I was in the car with her when she ran out of gas.
I had that same problem. The truck that leaked all over your driveway.
Yeah.
Ran out of gas in that twice because the tank was broken, and I can't do math. My new mission
What's that?
is to teach my daughters you need to get gas at all times.
Okay.
Like, you need
It's
to know,
it's a good one.
You got to keep that tank full. You need to be able to do it yourself because you don't need no man pumping or paying for your gas.
And their future husbands will thank you.
Yeah, well, look, I'm doing it for mankind, and I'm doing it for the safety of my children.
Yeah.
Right? Because
But I don't even know if it'll sink in. Because I think as soon as I get somebody in their life that'll do it for them, they're off.
You might be right. Because now that I'm thinking about it, my daughters have seen me get out of my wife's car and fill up her tank when it's below a quarter tank.
Yeah.
1,000 times. My wife, I know, you're right, Kimmy. She waits for me to get in the car before she gets gas, and that's all my children see. So my daughters are probably going to expect that out of the next guy.
Well, if they live in New Jersey, they won't have to worry about it.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
In a lesbian relationship,
Yeah.
do they have to determine who's in charge of the gas?
That's a great question.
Or
Well, I always
neither
figure-
of them do it and they're just constantly out of gas? Every time I see women walking down the side of the road, I got to figure that's a gay couple. They couldn't decide on who's doing the gas.
No.
Fun fact. Most bicycles in America per capita So the lesbians.
All right.
Yeah.
I always figure in every relationship, gay, straight, whatever, there's always one person who lets it go and one person who's on top of it.
Okay. But
That's just the only way it works.
so it's how the universe works. There will
Yes.
always be one.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
here's
yeah.
the thing. You say one or the other. It's never the guy in a straight relationship that lets the tank go down
Right.
to nothing. It's always the woman who's like, help me.
Because I'm always
Well,
paranoid about the gas. If I get down to a quarter of a tank, since that day I had to walk in the middle of the night, when I hit a quarter tank, I go get gas.
So-
My wife goes, "You got plenty."
My husband does this thing, like he never lets it get low, but and I don't get this strategy. He never fills up his tank.
What?
That's weird.
He always will put like exactly $20 in or exactly $30.
Oh, that's a poor kid thing.
But it drives me insane. I'm like, we don't have to get gas this much if you just fill up your tank all at once.
No,
like
that's- yeah.
It drives me. In everywhere we go, we always stop to get gas because he's always like, well, I got to put more in my tank. I'm like, just put it all in at once.
It took me a long time to get out of that habit. I totally get it because I would have to remember when
it's
I
so
didn't have a
weird.
credit card, I would have to slap down a $20
Yeah.
bill. I just got used to doing it that way.
It drives me insane.
252 WCMF. We got folks waiting on hold.
All right.
My wife, 15 miles, still empty tank, gas light on. Yesterday in the car. She drove around all day the day before. We're late for church that she wants to go to. I'm in a suit for her. I'm in a suit.
It's not even your trip, man.
252 WCMF. Jim, you're on CMF, buddy. What's up? Jimmy, you there?
Duffy, you got to think outside the box.
Okay.
Take it from a man who's had 2 daughters and, of course, a wife. You got to get them AAA. They run out of gas, they call AAA.
Okay.
They bring up some gas and get them going again.
All right, now, Jim,
Never get you out of the house.
I get that, but here's the thing. So Tommy has this theory about life when it comes to things you want that are hard to accomplish. And I would argue at this point, getting women to fill up their own gas tank is hard to accomplish. Like when you went and did stand-up, Tommy, you got rid of every other opportunity for you to make money.
Yes.
You, as you said, burn the boats.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Jim, if I get AAA for my kids, it doesn't fix the problem because now there's another safety net there.
plan B.
There's a plan B. We can only succeed with plan A, Jim. There can't be a plan B.
That's it.
Oh, no. The first few times they run out, they won't like sitting on the side of the road.
Yeah, it
They
isn't. It
won't
isn't
start to use it.
All right.
to his point. That's not fun.
I don't know. You got these damn kids with their phones and their TikToks now. Who knows, Jim? Who knows what these kids are into these days?
Who knows?
Jim, thanks for
Think outside the box.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good rest of the day. I shouldn't have to pay for gas insurance.
I know. That's what it is.
By the way, how do you pay for the gas that AAA brings you?
Oh, but there's got to be a big surcharge on it.
But do they if I don't have a credit card on me, they're like, oh, sorry, too bad. My gas now.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Your account.
yeah.
I don't know.
I never had AAA when I ran out of gas. I had A. This is a Canadian guy that drove by. You okay? No. All right, bye. Sorry. 252 WCMF. Let's talk to Eric. Hey, Eric, how are you, bud?
yeah, Wick.
Hey,
Hey,
the reason why she does that so you pay for it.
we have the same bank
I know.
account.
Comes from the
Doesn't
same
matter.
pot.
That doesn't matter. It's the point is you're paying for it.
You know, it's
And the other
the
thing
act
is,
of you
and
putting
the
the
other
card
thing
in.
is, if it got down that low, she's going to burn up the fuel pump.
see, I've been trying to tell her about the fuel pump, Eric.
Damn, fuel pump.
Eric, are you married, bud?
Yeah, I'm married.
Have you given up and just decided you're filling up the tank every time your wife needs gas?
Yeah, I do it just because I ain't paying for a fuel pump.
He's getting ahead of it.
Eric, thanks for the call, buddy. Have a good rest of the day. So we got 2 new T-shirts.
What's that?
I ain't paying for a fuel pump. And what was the one you had a second ago?
You ain't got tomorrow in that tank.
No tomorrow in that tank.
You know, Eric does bring up something interesting. My wife and I have a joint bank account.
Yeah.
Right?
Like most couples.
Okay, and he, argues like, hey, he wants you to pay for it. Now that I'm thinking about it, if we go out somewhere,
Yeah.
like to dinner, or we'll be in the mall and she wants a pretzel or something, she'll insist that I use my card. She'll pay the woman or pay the man.
Yeah.
Almost like it's the same money. Doesn't matter who pays who, but it's like she wants people to see me paying for it.
Yes.
Why?
That's got to be be the man. You buy the pretzel for your woman. Feed that pretzel to your woman.
Is that? Do you guys have a joint bank account, Kimmy?
We have shared a shared credit card.
All right, smart move on
basically.
his part.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you guys have a shared bank account?
Yeah.
That was a mistake for her. What is she doing?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay,
Yeah.
but she insists that you pull out your card and pay.
No. No, I mean, I never really thought about it, but probably I do.
Well,
It's
maybe you're
so-
just used to it.
It's just automatic.
All right, here's the thing. Next time you guys go out, slow play it. Or ask her, hey, do you have your card, and see what she says.
Oh, all right, I'll try it.
Well, no, I'm just saying, your wife, your wife's a traditional woman.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's based on the man she married. I wonder if it would bother her if, despite the fact that it's coming
It probably would, because she's very traditions and optics and everything, how things look. So probably so.
All right. Why are you ladies so weird? You're all weird. You
Yeah.
ain't got enough fuel in that tank for tomorrow. I screwed
No,
up.
you ain't got tomorrow in that tank.
There it is.
No
Thank you.
tomorrow on that tank.
We got a dynamite. You ain't got tomorrow in that tank. Kind of breaking for you this morning here on CMF. We're going to talk about this amazing Super Bowl. You know what's funny? As we were discussing how lukewarm we were on the whole thing last week, the way it turned out wasn't even an option in my head.
No, I didn't see that happening.
So we'll get into that in a little while. But just after 7 o'clock,
Yeah.
you got to buy gas. You want to buy gas, you got to make money.
Oh yeah.
And Kimmy, for years, kids, especially of our generation, were told if you don't go to college, you're going to be a failure. But that was a lie. There was a lie that they told us because there were plenty of jobs without a college education that you can get into an apprenticeship or learn and
have a career.
You got it. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
with all those years of kids not doing this, there is now a shortage. And there is a brilliant idea that is happening at Edison Tech that has been beneficial to places like this and businesses like this for the last, I believe, 10 years.
Fantastic.
And it all comes down to how do you make the trades cool again?
Okay.
And we'll get into it just after 7 o'clock here in the break room on CMF, plus a whole bunch more. But first, Tommy.
Yeah.
If I were to ask you what age makes you a kid, what age and under, you would argue.
A kid?
Kid. Yeah, he's just a kid.
Oh, 25.
Okay.
Under 25.
All right. So in this case, you would argue then that this is just a kid that made a mistake if the allegation
What
is true.
did he pull?
Well, that's just it, man. Like, you at this age should not just. If this was just for goofs, you're
Yeah.
just goofing over here
Yeah.
on Stone Road at a bakery. Did you see this story?
Yeah.
No, at a bakery?
We'll get into it next here in the break room. Let's see you, man. You know, the ignorance of youth can be romantic.
Oh, sure.
Right? You think back to what you didn't know, made life easier.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the best parts about being young is you can make mistakes and not have your ass held to the fire for it, right? That being said, young is a subjective term.
What happened?
Because you, just a second ago, said anybody under the age of 25 is a kid.
A kid, yeah.
So in that way, if the allegations are true, this is just a kid doing something stupid.
The hell did he do?
Well, but that's just it, Kimmy. At this age, if it's just something stupid, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, I don't know what you're trying to accomplish.
You're hanging out in the break room. It's just Classic Rock 96.5 WCMF. Just after 6:45.
Yeah.
When we were talking last week about how none of us in the room were excited about watching the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
the idea of this happening did not even cross my mind.
Oh,
But that was the most fun Super Bowl
really?
I've watched, and I can't even remember.
Very stress-free.
It was great. It was great. We'll get into it just after 6:45 here in the break room on CMF. So to start this story, we have to go back to a story from last week.
Okay.
So for those who did not see, last Tuesday night, the owners of Jackson Bakery on Stone Road got to work, well, early Wednesday morning,
Yeah.
to find that their front windows had been broken.
Oh, Jesus.
Not good. And Tommy, if you are a business owner and you see your windows are broken, when you get inside, you would assume,
You've been ripped.
yeah. But there was no robbery,
Oh.
according to 13 Wham.
Did he
Someone,
grab a bun?
I don't know. There was no reports of a robbery. Now, the folks who own the bakery said people had been inside. That's why they couldn't open on Wednesday. They had to get a bunch of stuff repaired and clean stuff up. But there was no reports, Kimmy, that anything had been
I
So
didn't
nothing
see
been
that, yeah.
touched.
I didn't see that.
No.
So, that had happened Wednesday. Kind of forgot about the story
Yeah.
until over the weekend.
What happened?
A 25-year-old man from Greece was arrested after an investigation in charge of criminal mischief. He is accused of breaking the windows of Jackson's Bakery.
Okay.
Seems like he acted alone.
Yes. When it comes to why someone at 25 years old would shatter the windows of a bakery, there are three explanations.
Right.
One would be the robbery, which doesn't seem to be the case.
Right.
Two, this person had some kind of beef with the bakery.
I thought like he got fired from the joint.
Okay, could be. But there's nothing in the story that says he was a
Former
former employee.
employee. All
Nothing
right.
there. I mean,
All
it
right.
doesn't mean he wasn't, but there's nothing in the story that says it. And if he wasn't a former employee, what kind of issues
What you have with the bakery?
at 25 years
Yeah,
old?
yeah.
Old school West Side Bakery?
Yes.
Were you not happy with the cookies they got you? Right?
Yeah.
And like if this is the place I'm thinking of, this has been there forever.
Oh, it's an old joint.
Bro, it's got like Fanny Farmer age sign. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like old school.
Yeah.
Why, if he was angry, why are you so angry at the cakes, bro?
Yeah.
Which leads us to our third potential option here if the allegations are true.
What should be?
Straight up jackass.
All right.
Just
Break
being
something
a
to break
dick.
something.
Yeah, right? But if that's the case,
You do it in front of some buddies, right?
I guess, but even if there were buddies there,
Like a dare or something like that. Yeah.
but 25, I
yeah,
dare
25's
you
a
to.
little old
Right?
to be just destroying stuff for the fun of it.
Like, if this was a 17-year-old kid, still a sad story for the
Yeah.
bakery, right? Cost
Yeah.
some money, but that story makes sense. 25, as much as you think that's a kid,
Yeah.
it is far too old to be breaking
Like,
windows.
You have a
For no
full-time
reason.
job.
For no reason.
Yes, you should have a full-time job.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be out of the
You should
question.
be getting there at least.
Yes, you could be living on your own.
Yeah.
Hell, I mean, I was married at 24.
You could have a girl in your life.
Thank you. 252 WCMF. If the allegations are true, why the hell would a 25-year-old man shatter the windows of a bakery and not steal anything? Anybody?
Yeah, like not even tempted to take a cookie or something. Like
Do you think they have the food out overnight?
Well, probably
I
in
would
the
think
yeah.
some of it at least.
Usually,
right?
you
And then-
walk past a bakery, you can still see the food in there, like on
Yeah.
the shelves.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you got to break in for a day-old bagel,
Yeah, but them cookies are probably pretty good, right?
day-old cookie. I don't know, man. They usually...
You ain't used
You'd
to
at
eat
least
all
try
day old.
it.
You were raised on day old.
No, I know, but day old's cheap. That's why you get day old.
Yeah, true.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like it's like breaking into the Salvation Army and stealing a couple of shirts. Like, hey
Yeah.
man, there's a more expensive place over here. Don't break in anywhere, but if you're gonna do it,
Yeah.
get the one with the new tag on it.
Is that like a high traffic area for walking? Like
Stone and Dewey?
I'm trying
Ah.
to think of like why you'd be walking around there at that time of night anyways.
So I used
like
to
would you be walking home from a bar or something?
So I used to spend a lot of time down there as a kid, and
Yeah.
granted, I haven't been there as a while. But when I was a kid, there were a couple of bars
Okay,
in that
so-
area, old school, cool ass grease
Yeah.
bars.
Okay, so maybe you're a little tipsy. You're
Well,
having
I
some
was
fun.
thinking like, are you
Roming's-
pissed at something?
Is
that
it
you're-
Romig's down that way? Dewey and Stone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah.
I told you I had a buddy that broke a whole bunch of car windows because he was just high,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he was kicking them in, and no reason,
Okay.
just because he was
Being a
well, he was kind of coked up, but
Which is what we're not accusing anybody of
no,
being
I'm
here.
saying in this particular
You
instance,
are such a great radio broadcaster.
I'm not trying to pin anything on.
I'm not trying to
anybody.
pin it. Let me just tell a
Just
story. Let me just keep
in
saying
my
things.
experience.
But I mean, if you're high, well, listen, you're just saying he might have been drunk. Who the hell knows?
Oh, no, I never said drunk either. I never said drunk.
Why are we talking bars?
I said, well, Kimmy S. Marcy,
I was
it's
just-
both
yeah,
of you
I
are
was
dragging me down.
No, I was just thinking like because like I will say like I've seen grown men just take their anger out on public property. After,
yeah, he could
like
have been
a-
pissed off about
yeah,
something. Just
just being pissed.
kicked the glass in.
But why this old school bakery of
Yeah,
all
I
the
don't
places?
know.
Well, it's just right there.
Okay.
It sounds like it doesn't matter.
What it was.
I think we're getting too tied up in the fact that it's a bakery.
I
I think
don't-
it's more like he was just being an ass or he
Okay.
was pissed off.
But
and
he
that was the
only-
first thing he saw.
But there were probably other shops along the way, right? Like why this particular
Maybe that's where it just
spot?
catches you and
Yeah.
you're pissed off and there's glass
Yeah.
you hit it.
All right, I will say this, and this might sound weird. If I'm being stupid, tell
Yeah.
me. 252 WCMF. Again, we're talking about this 25-year-old man. He was arrested. Story last week, Jackson Bakery on the corner of Stone and Dewey in Greece had their windows broken. And when they got there Wednesday morning to find the scene, they went in. It didn't say anything about a robbery.
Yeah.
It looks like they had just had the windows broken. And we're trying to figure out why a 25-year-old man from Greece would do this
Yeah.
without breaking in and
Yeah, he
taking
could have
anything.
broken up with his lady.
All right, so there are some businesses in the town that you live that I think everyone has respect for.
Okay.
Things that have been around for so long, they just seem like a part of the fabric of the community. And robberies happen there because desperate people do desperate things.
Sure.
But I always thought like a place like this, like even if you were angry, I'm going to go down to like the Papa John's instead. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't want to hurt the fabric of your community.
But I don't know, like, 25-year-olds feel that way.
Okay, maybe you're right.
I mean, you grew up that way, but that doesn't mean everybody did.
I don't know. Like, Greece is a pretty like familial community, right? Like they're big on culture.
Yeah, but not everybody cares about
Okay.
somebody else's stupid culture.
I said maybe I was being stupid.
You know what I mean?
I get it. I get it.
Like, I don't care about culture.
No, but I do think like if you could choose a one window to break in Pittsburgh, there are businesses you would pass on because they're just
Yeah.
right.
True, that's true.
I mean, like Kimmy, there are some places that you don't ever want to see touched. I would have thought Jackson's Bakery was one of those places.
Yeah, you would think especially if you live around there, you're probably pretty protective, right? You get pretty protective about anywhere that's right around the corner from you.
All right, so if it's not disgruntled employee, if he's just jackassing around, right? I hope it's not jackassing. Because if it was just that, and the allegations are true, you'd have to explain what happened to everyone you know.
The kid?
His name and picture were all over the news all over the
all right.
weekend, right? Your parents, your friends, your family,
Neighbors?
every woman
Countrymen?
you've ever talked to. Every kid you went to high school with
Yeah.
in Greece, if the kid's from Greece. How do you explain this?
Oh, well, there could also be, because you know how whenever somebody pops up in the news, somebody in your past that you knew, you either look at it and say, makes sense, or you are completely shocked that that person ended up in that position.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I do wonder if...
Yep, that makes sense. That's where I thought they'd be heading.
You know what's funny, too?
What's that?
Like, the more severe the crime, the more disheartening it is when you're like, saw that coming.
Yeah.
There are two kids
They didn't turn it around, did they?
There are two kids I went to high school with
Yeah.
that were accused of some awful things.
Yeah.
One of them, it was like, that makes sense. The other one I was more surprised by. And I think I was more bothered by the one that made sense.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I don't know why. Because that
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, after a while, though, it's... these people kind of, like, bubble up in your life like, periodically. Like, I still see things today from my past. I go, yeah, that... I knew he was going to end up like that.
Okay, but you also hung around with a high concentration of scumbags.
Yes. Like, I assume, like, a third of the women I dated back in the day are incarcerated or have passed away. Or passed away while being
You
incarcerated.
could have just stuck with it.
Or got the chair.
Why would they get the chair? You would see if they gave a woman the chair.
I never look. It's Florida, man. Everybody gets the chair.
They should get the chair for knobbing you. There's no coming back for that. Even the priest next to the chair be like, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do for you. Power of Christ compels you. Good luck. All right, let's take a break. Everyone was pretty lukewarm on the Super Bowl.
I had no interest in that game at all. At all.
Going into it, I had the same feeling. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
of all the scenarios, all we Bills fans, bitter
Yeah.
Bills fans, played out in our heads, I don't think anyone imagined what happened last
Oh,
night
probably not. No.
was even a possibility.
Yeah.
And for that reason, Kimmy, I am glad that we were not one of the thousands of Bills fans that decided to boycott the Super Bowl, because last night was the most
I think it
fun.
would have been satisfying for you.
Oh, my God. We'll get into it next here in the break room on 96.5 WCMF. The talk here in the break room last week,
What's that?
across Western New York, and really nationwide,
Yeah.
how lukewarm we were all feeling about watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because in our heads, there wasn't really a scenario that would make the game last night fun. And oh my God, how wrong we were. Because with one obvious exception, I don't think you could have had more fun watching a Super Bowl as all of us did
All right.
last night. You're hanging out in the break room, Rochester Classic Rock 96.5, WCMF. Just after 7 o'clock, we know that we need to find kids that want to work in the trades.
Yes.
And it's a harder task than people understand because you can tell a 17, 18-year-old kid they can make really good money. And
Right up front.
They're going to have fantastic benefits. There's a possibility for a pension in some of these jobs. But
Yeah.
that doesn't really register with a teenage kid. What you need to do is make the trades look cool. And there's one program that might actually be doing
All right.
that. So past it. If you're someone that works as a machinist, a plumber, a carpenter, whatever, how do you make your job and your life look cool to a teenage kid?
Yeah.
And we'll get to it just after 7 o'clock here in the break room on CMF. And the Eagles scored again. Philly blows out
Yeah.
the Chiefs last night. The final being 40-22, but really the last two touchdowns the Chiefs scored didn't even count.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Eagles were like, go ahead,
You
make
got it.
yourselves feel better.
Kimmy, in hindsight, it was never even a game.
No.
Kansas City scored 6 real points. That was after what? They were down 34-0?
They hadn't
Something
scored.
like that.
I went to
Yeah.
bed in the,
I mean, they just couldn't get anything
in the
going.
beginning of the third quarter, and they hadn't scored.
They did not run a play in Eagles territory until like 5 minutes left in the
Yeah.
third. The Eagles brutalized Patrick Mahomes last night. They sacked him twice or 6 times. They picked him twice. They forced a fumble on top of that. My favorite moment of that game.
Yeah.
Favorite moment of that game.
With that pick six.
Okay, pick 6 was fun.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, you know that Cooper DeJean is a rookie.
Yeah.
It was his birthday.
I know.
That was his.
22.
That was his
Take
first.
that, Taylor Swift.
That was the first interception of his career.
Wow. Look at that.
Oh, was the first ever
Of
in
his career.
Wow.
His first career interception was on his birthday in
Oh,
the
I-
Super Bowl
it
for a
wasn't-
touchdown against
wow.
Patrick Mahomes.
It's about as good as it gets.
I think so.
Well, are you sure it wasn't his first pick six?
I thought they said first
Oh,
interception.
I don't know.
You could check. I don't know. I could
Yeah.
be wrong. I got excited about it, so maybe I didn't read it all the way through. Tommy, my favorite play.
What's that?
It was in the third quarter, and Patrick Mahomes, they need something, man. So he drops back, and he's just going to let one loose, and he leans back, and as he's doing it, defensive end for the Eagles almost rips his arm out. As another defensive tackle for the Eagles literally punches him in the face.
Really?
Forces a fumble, no flag, which was great. It was an obvious flag. Didn't throw the flag.
Right.
That made me warm inside. Like, they
Right.
just made
First
his life
interception, by the way.
first. It was his first.
Yeah.
What a moment.
Yeah.
What a moment.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, look, from the second drive on for the Eagles, it was pure domination. It was so dominant
How dominant was it?
that we only got like a single shot of Taylor Swift all night.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And she wasn't even wearing Chief stuff.
Yeah, it was weird. Did I see all Brittany Mahomes and stuff? Like they were all in white for some reason. Because Taylor Swift was also wearing white.
I don't know.
I don't know what that was about. I don't know.
Especially if you're going to be eating those appetizers and the sweets. You drop a buffalo wing down your shirt.
You're ruining
I mean,
it.
that's the one good thing about that Chiefs jersey color. You can eat a lot of
Yeah,
food. And
yeah.
you rock,
That's how they
yeah,
designed
red
it
hides a lot.
for barbecue.
So, Tommy, last week we sat in this room and we talked about how none of us were excited to watch
No,
this
I
game.
had no interest.
Yeah, we didn't care about the Chiefs. We didn't want to see a three-peat.
Yeah.
It's the same Super Bowl we saw a couple years
It's
ago.
the same story. Like the backstories, it's just the same thing.
Yeah.
That's like that pregame show was what I caught of it was just ugh.
It was
The
brutal.
worst pregame thing I saw was Tom Brady sitting down with Patrick Mahomes, and all they did was tell each other how great each
They
other
just
was.
bro out.
I'm like, what are we doing here? Who is this for?
Them.
Who is this for?
No, absolutely. Like, and we talked about it last week. Like, you already know all the characters, so
No, I
it's,
don't. There's no story here.
it's not even like you can give me some like background on somebody I've never heard
I
of.
told you
before.
when I turned on the pregame show, Jimmy Johnson was crying, and I couldn't stop laughing. Like, how many times are they going to make this guy cry on national television?
Can we talk about how creepy, digitally altered, younger Jerry Johnson is? Did you
I-
guys see
I-
that? Or
I didn't
Jimmy Johnson.
I didn't
that.
I didn't see why he was crying.
So they did like
Some kind of AI
montage.
thing.
Yeah,
where,
like a
he meets his younger self.
exactly.
Or something.
But like,
But who cares?
bro, I'm with you. They had nothing. You got
Yeah.
nothing.
Like, I know this story. Jimmy Johnson's been around since dirt. Like, Jerry Jones was his roommate in college. That's how old these people are.
Yeah. But here's the thing. despite all the feelings we had last night or last week, after last night's game, something became very obvious.
What's that?
Nobody in America even considered the fact that the Eagles could go in there and just dismantle the Chiefs.
Well,
the way
nobody
they did.
had. So, yeah, why would you think that? You thought it was going to be a close game like when they played last time.
I mean, yeah, it was a walk-off field goal game
Yeah.
last time, right? Or almost a walk-off field goal game. I mean, look, if we're being honest here, with the exception of the Bills obviously being in that game and winning it, I don't think I could have had more fun than I did watching what I watched last night. It was awesome. And I think it's the best Super Bowl maybe I've ever seen.
Well, because you hate Patrick Mahomes and he was getting mugged every third play.
Like, they weren't getting the calls, which made me great. By the way, did you see DeAndre Hopkins after the game complaining about the officiating? You kidding me?
Really?
You kidding me, bro?
You didn't even
kidding
have.
me?
There was nothing to officiate.
Thank you.
You can't go anywhere.
Dang, you said they were calling soft calls. Yeah, you didn't score until it. But, Tommy, here's the thing.
What's that?
I get the feeling, based on, if I put my hands out here, the energy I'm getting from you.
Yeah.
You were still disappointed by the game last night.
It was just boring, and my thing is, I'd rather the Bills would have done a better job. I mean, I don't think the Bills would have been manhandled like that. I don't know, but I'm like,
that is one of the things you start to think.
Like,
no matter
this-
what team you root for,
they get there and this is what they do.
Yeah, like I gotta think that if you're a Ravens fan, you were thinking the same thing when
Right.
the Bills played the Chiefs. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we could have dominated the Chiefs. You just never know.
Well, I mean, so now it goes two ways if you are a Bills fan, right? And the phone number is 252-WCMF, 252-9263. I guess it's three. One, you're just happy watching the Chiefs get their asses kicked. You didn't think about it. Two, you are frustrated because you as a Bills fan believe that the Bills would have gone in there and given the Eagles a legitimate game.
Yeah.
Right? Or three, you are furious with the coaching staff, which I saw last night of the Buffalo Bills, because if the coaching staff wasn't inept for the Bills, we'd be here and beating the Eagles right now, which I think is the worst of all the takes, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't know. I mean, Kimmy, do you think the Bills would have put up a better fight, would have had a chance in that game?
I mean, to not score for the Chiefs to not score any points until the third quarter, I gotta think the Bills would have had at least one.
Okay, what I would like more than we're down 30-14. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's an old boxing saying, styles make fights.
Oh, I thought it was Duck. Go ahead.
Did it feel like maybe the Chiefs just weren't themselves? Like, do you think the Eagles are really that good, or did the Chiefs come into that game not ready, or are thinking they were going to walk over them or something?
Could have been a pregame fudge.
Let me tell you those.
More fudge?
I will say this. If pregame fudge is a part of being an NFL player, I would absolutely take advantage. Well, no, Kimmy. I mean, there were no injuries on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Right? They've been here before. You can't say that the moment was too big for them. I mean, I just think you ran into a buzzsaw of an Eagles team that had a great game plan. I also think
and they played them before, so they kind of knew what they were getting into. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, you make the same argument for the Bills.
Yeah.
Do you think though that there was another option there, like the Bills fans that were watching are like, well, thank God we didn't run into that buzzsaw,
No, I mean, being the eternal optimist,
You
which I
think?
think all Bills fans are, I wanted a shot at that. Because in my head, the Bills win that game. They go out there and they win a close game against Philly. I mean, if you want the honest, God's truth opinion here, I don't think last night's an indictment on the talent that the Chiefs have.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an indictment on, like, the team is getting too old. I think that it gets to a point where a team is so successful and they play so much postseason football, they've just got nothing left.
And they're boring. They've become boring. And, like, I don't care about Philadelphia. They've been there before. They've won one.
Yeah.
I don't. There was no interesting thing in this game.
Really? You been watching Patrick Mahomes get his ass kicked? Because I want to go back to that. That
kinda
was awesome.
I mean,
If
yeah.
somebody were to compile all the highlights of him getting hit, I would watch that
All right.
with my pants around my ankles for the rest of the day. Like, that's how petty I am. Like, you thought Kendrick Lamar was petty in the halftime show last night? Not even close to the petty level I am right now.
Yeah, I didn't get that halftime thing.
It wasn't for you.
I wish I wouldn't have brought it up. You should not have gotten that like yesterday.
I didn't.
Okay, no, I got it.
I couldn't even understand him.
Are you serious?
I didn't know what he was singing
You're
about.
going to be that guy? What's he saying? I can't even hear his words.
I think you just summed up Facebook in one sentence.
Give me someone like Mick Jagger who I can always understand what he's saying.
Well, then there's like a celebrity out there. What's she doing there? Why is she?
Serena, she's not playing tennis anymore. She's got time.
I'm going, why is she there?
It's a long story, but trust me, it's a story of petty.
All right.
Ultimate petty.
All right, I enjoy petty.
252 WCMF, 252-9263. Again, we're talking about the fantastic Super Bowl that we all witnessed last night. Lots of fun had by all outside of Missouri. Going back to that whole idea of styles make fights. So everyone knows Muhammad Ali.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
Okay, greatest heavyweight fighter
Good
of all
kid,
time.
good kid, good kid.
Beat the greatest fighters ever.
Yeah.
But a fighter named Ken Norton, who is just a decent heavyweight, always gave him a great fight, beat him once.
Yeah.
And it's because Ken Norton's style is something that Ali couldn't handle.
Okay.
And when you say styles make fights, the idea that the Bills would have gotten blown out by the Eagles, I think, is inappropriate because the Bills play a different style of football than the Chiefs do. And it's possible that this iteration of the Chiefs, the style made that game last night.
All right.
You know, it's much.
They didn't match up.
Exactly. Like, you know, how Miami, the Dolphins,
Yeah.
they've had some success the last couple of years. But whenever they play the Bills, they can't win. Styles make fights. The Bills have been dominant in the AFC East the last couple of years, but every time they play the Jets, who have been terrible, it's a close game.
Yeah.
Styles make fights, and you could also make the same argument for the Bills and the Chiefs. That as great as the Bills play against all these other teams,
They can't get over that hump.
styles make fights.
All right.
Right? I don't know. But there's nothing to be upset about today if you're a Bills fan. Just bask in the glory of Patrick Mahomes getting continuously blasted over and over and over again.
But even with that blowout last night, I'm watching ABC this morning. They always have the scroll underneath. And the Chiefs are already the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl despite being blown out in said Super Bowl.
It makes sense, but take solace in the fact that the odds-on favorite never wins a Super
But the
Bowl.
fact that that's even out there that quick.
Bro, they're just
Oh, they'll be
It's
back
always-
next year.
they're just trying to take
they're going to get you next year.
they're just trying to take suckers' money right now.
All right.
I'm telling you. Like yesterday, the line was 1.5. They lost by they should have lost by 40.
Yeah.
Right? 252 WCMF. Let's talk to Paul. Hey Paul, how are you, buddy?
Hey, good. You know, I'm not the Bills are my second favorite team, and I'm a Commanders fan, and I don't like the Eagles either. But it was finally good to see Kansas City get calls that they should have been made, because last week the commissioner and the head of the referees union came out with this thing about how the Kansas City doesn't get the calls because everybody was complaining about it and everything. But then when these reporters showed the disparity in the calls for all the postseason games that Kansas City has played against and what the other teams have had, the ratio was insane.
So I'll give you the quick stat. 11 games, Tommy.
Yeah.
The last 11 games the Chiefs have played.
Yeah.
The Chiefs have had fewer penalties in all 11
All
games.
11, wow.
In only one of those games did they have more penalty yards. I mean, it's statistically impossible.
Yeah.
But, Paul, here's what's interesting, because I get where you're going here. I was under the impression, because the talk in the week leading up to this Bills game, it was all about the penalty disparity, specifically between the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. And I had thought, Paul, if the NFL was going to do something about it, it would have been that week, because that was leading every sports show every single day. It is pretty amazing that it took a full 3 weeks of that talk for the NFL to button up their collars, I guess.
Yeah, but you got to remember, they're going to be on the national stage and everything against a good Eagles team. I mean, nobody thought it was going to be like it was, but the calls were, I mean, they even got a call on the goal line, that goal line stance.
Yeah.
There was 2 Eagles that were all offsides for sure. They lined up across the thing. They didn't call it. But finally, all these calls that normally personal fouls against Patrick Mahomes for hitting them and everything, they didn't call those last night.
I mean, look, maybe the dark magic ran out, Paul. I mean, let's think about that. Maybe somebody had a voodoo doll down there in New Orleans just sticking it at Patrick Mahomes over and over again. Thanks for the call,
it's okay
Paul.
with me. Thanks, okay.
There goes Paul. I mean, the stark contrast in how they called games this year versus how that game was called last night. Kimmy, the NFL had to overcorrect, and that's what it had to be, right?
I mean, okay, so I do remember early in that game when they kind of called that soft
pass interference.
interference.
They never called
and
that.
I remember thinking, oh, it's starting. Here we go. And then they made that makeup call later on. I was like, oh, well, maybe that was like their one that they got out of the way early, and they're like, we don't want to do that again.
It is interesting, though, too, Kimmy, like, because I've heard, too, the reason they called it the way they did last night is because it was on a national stage. There were 60 million people that watched that Bills-Chiefs game.
Yeah, I mean,
and most of these
all these games are.
They're all on national stages.
Especially
I mean,
in the playoffs.
You can see the highlights of any game.
Absolutely. All right, so The only thing that sucks is there's no more football.
Yeah.
What do I do on Sundays?
Dead
Now it's on to the
zone.
draft.
Which, again, that talk will start today.
Oh, yeah.
It's already
All
started.
the off-season stuff. All the moves are being made right now, coaching-wise.
I mean, hell, we were talking about a potential Myles Garrett trade 4 days before the Super Bowl last week.
Right.
So, sit around and wait.
Right.
Go Sabres, I guess. They're even on a break
They're
for
on a
2
break.
weeks. Damn it!
I know.
You get to watch
Why is
the
hockey
It
on a
really is
break?
the dead zone.
You really want to know?
We're just quickly.
Okay. They are doing what they call a 4 nations tournament. 4 countries are playing each other in a round robin style tournament.
Oh.
All the NHL players, but Russia's not invited because Putin's being a dick.
Oh, does it? But don't the Russians come in like under some other name?
Nope, not
No,
this one.
this is
They've
different.
decided you can't even do that.
So that's not going to be good. All the good guys from Russia.
You're not
Oh
going to watch
no!
it anyways.
Oh no! Please bring them back. Who cares?
Yeah, but they're all good.
Yeah, probably. Maybe. What are they sticking them with? You've seen Rocky 4. Let's take a break. We need people in these jobs.
Yes.
And we need people young that want to do these jobs. And look, you can sit down a teenage kid and you can explain. You will get great pay.
But how do
Fanta-
we lure these young people in?
Well, that's kind of what you have to do, Tommy. And here's the thing. The guys that do these jobs, not handsome enough to lure. It doesn't matter how many times you yell in these kids' faces the legitimate benefits of taking a job like this. Their brains
Yeah.
are not wired to understand.
Well, they're hard jobs.
I
They're
don't-
physical jobs.
Okay, see, but you're already making mistake number 1 as to
What's that?
why kids don't want to do stuff like this. It's not about how hard it is. And it's not about how much money they can make or the benefits they can have or the
What is
potential
it?
pension. It's about making it look cool.
So there needs to be a cool factor.
And one program in our area,
Yeah, they figured it out.
they may have figured out a way
All right.
how to make the trades look cool.
Well, what's cool? I don't know what's cool anymore.
No,
I know.
The way you just talked about the Kendrick Lamar halftime
I
show.
didn't get it. That wasn't cool to
I
me.
can't even understand it. What's Serena Williams doing there? We'll get into it. Not that, but the trades next. Here the break room on CMF. This is a brilliant idea.
All right, what are we doing?
Well, we need more kids that are willing to do stuff like this for a living. But more importantly, because we've lost the ability to show them how great life can be with these gigs,
All right.
we need to show them something else other than look at all this money you can make. Because there was a time
There was a time.
where a lot of us could just look around where we lived and see what you could get working in these fields. Meet these men and women that were doing it and realize, like, this is pretty sweet. And this could be a way back in to that.
All right.
You're hanging out in the break room, Rochester's Classic Rock, 96.5, WCMF, just after 7:25, 7:30. Sometimes just shutting up is the best thing to do. Because last week, we talked twice about allegations that the town supervisor in Arundecoit is facing
Yeah.
involving a former employee. And over the weekend, he finally, through his attorney, put out a statement.
Okay.
And when you say you're sorry and then follow it up with that you,
Okay.
that's not an apology.
Yeah.
We'll get to it
All right.
just after 7:25, 7:30 here in the break room on CMF. Tommy,
Yeah, buddy.
last week, the Finger Lakes Youth Apprenticeship Program had
All right.
their annual signing day.
Signing day.
Okay, so the Youth Apprenticeship Program
All right.
gives kids an opportunity in high school to get paid for co-ops and apprenticeships with job shadowing at like 10 different companies
Okay.
in the greater Rochester area.
Right.
And the way that they set this up is genius.
What do they do?
So, Tommy, you know how kids that are going to go play college sports have these press conferences at their high school?
Yeah.
And they announce where they're going to play football or basketball, and then they sign a letter of intent, and then they hold up the jersey with their mom and dad, and everybody smiles.
Yeah, it's on TV.
Okay. They did that
Oh.
with the apprenticeships.
All right, good idea.
And they did it at Edison Tech. So the kids sit down at a table with the backdrop behind them. They sign the paperwork for which apprenticeship they want to take. They then give them a jersey with the name of the business they're going to work for.
All
The
right.
news comes down. They tape the whole thing. Their parents some of the kids' parents were there.
Right.
It was awesome.
So give him a little razzle dazzle.
Exactly. It was genius.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Yes. And before you say it's silly, this program alone has connected over 800 students with local businesses, giving them
Damn.
real work experience at a young age in fields that need young people. And it shows these kids what a stable, well-paying, great option jobs like this could be if you were to do it for a living. And it's desperately needed right now. Tommy?
It's a great idea.
It's the smartest idea I've heard in a long time. I'm like jealous of how smart whoever came up with this idea was.
There's a problem here, though.
Oh, don't be a dick.
No, listen.
Okay.
Because we think it's cool.
Yeah.
So that may mean it's not cool.
No, I'm cool. I'm going to be cool
I mean,
forever.
we're like, this is awesome. Wow. Awesome. And I have a feeling that, like, if we think it's a cool thing, then kids may not think it's a cool thing.
I'm going to argue.
Do we share the cool factor here?
Okay, I think cool is a subjective term here.
Okay.
Here's why it is subjectively cool.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, wait, let me try that again. A kid going to play college sports gets a ton of attention.
Oh, sure.
Right? And congratulations and kudos.
Yeah, big man on campus.
A kid that's just going to college, period, will get a lot of congratulations and kudos and high fives from people in their life. For some reason, over the last 20 years, 30 years, the idea of a kid going into a trade was almost looked at as an afterthought.
Yeah.
You couldn't do anything else, so you're going to go do this. And that's not the case.
Yes.
And the fact that these kids are getting kudos for making a decision that this may be something they want to do, Kimmy, is what makes it cool.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is Kimmy
Makes
right?
sense.
252 WCMF?
I mean, it makes sense.
Okay.
I don't know how in touch we are with what kids think is cool.
Come on, look at me, man. I got a 14-year-old who
I mean-
doesn't talk to me.
Did you hear Tommy talk about the halftime show 5 minutes ago?
Okay, it's a valid point. All right.
Right.
The phone number is 252 WCMF 252-9263. Tommy, we know there's been a dip in trade jobs in manufacturing.
For 20 years.
There you go. And the argument from folks in those jobs, why the kids aren't doing it, is they don't want to work hard anymore.
Well, they're tough, demanding jobs. Some of them are pretty grimy.
These kids are soft, Tommy.
A lot of soft boys
Soft
out
kids.
there.
That is the rallying cry of the bitter old man. You can't handle what we do, and that's why you don't want to do it.
And I don't think they make an attempt to appeal to women either.
Okay.
Like, they don't really reach out to women, who they also need to do these jobs.
You're right. I mean, we've seen Rosie the Riveter posters.
She was tough.
Yeah, she was.
There's that picture of her punching Hitler in the face.
All right, when it comes to this whole the kids are too soft to do our jobs, can I present another theory as to why these kids aren't going into the trades?
All right.
Kids of the last 20 years don't fully understand what these jobs offer. Because when I was a kid,
Oh, yeah.
the neighborhood I grew up in was full of guys who did these jobs. And even my old man, it wasn't a trade. He was a cop, but he belonged to a union.
Yeah.
I lived in a neighborhood of union guys. And I witnessed with my own eyes that you could buy a house and raise a family and take vacations and have
You can
nice
walk
things.
out on them. See ya. I'm going to go. You could go get another. You could get a job where you could get 2 families. How about that?
One job, 2 families.
One job, 2 families.
But what I'm getting at is living in that environment, unknowingly, it was beaten into my head
Yeah.
that this was a great option for the rest of my
Yeah.
life. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of assumed where I grew up that I would have a job like that
It would
when I
just
got
happen.
older.
Yeah.
Yes. But as time has gone on and fewer people have had these jobs, it gives kids less access to seeing
Yeah.
people with them. And when you don't see what kind of life you can have, when you don't see how fun the people who have these jobs are when they're not on the job,
Yeah.
you assume that A, these jobs don't pay well, and B, that guys who do them are just dicks because you only see them on the news and Facebook going, "Kids are too soft to do our jobs now." Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was your environment.
If you want these kids back in these jobs, and we desperately need them, you need to let them know what's waiting for them, and you need to make it exciting for them. And I think that's what this program does.
Yeah. Put a little show business.
Okay, but here's the thing.
What is that?
Not every kid, Tommy, can go through this program at Edison Tech, right?
Yeah.
So I will ask this question. All of you carpenters and plumbers and machinists and tradesmen and women and union folks out there, 252-WCMF, 252-9263, what can you do to make the trades and manufacturing look cool? How do you wrap your arms around these kids and get them on board and with all of your might, not yell in their face, "You're too soft to do my job"? Because I think less yelling is a good start.
Yeah. Never,
fair?
Never worked on us.
Right?
Being yelled at.
Well, but that's just it.
Yeah.
Tommy, if all kids hear is about how lazy they are and they couldn't handle these jobs anyways,
They're too fat to get out in a truck.
but you're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, you do.
Right?
Mm.
Like, I suck and I'll never be able to do the job.
Yeah.
Where do I sign up? Right? Like, why don't you focus on the positives more?
There you go.
I'm just saying, the pay, the camaraderie, the job security. You can't export a plumber.
No.
You can't export a carpenter.
Right, you're not going to lose your gig.
You machinist, maybe you should go learn how to be a carpenter. I don't know, like what in your head makes a trade cool?
They'd have
Why
to
am I asking you?
No, they need to market it to kids.
Okay, but how do you do that?
Well, that's the key. Like, how do you make all the trades look cool? Because if you zero in on one thing, it doesn't work.
Oh,
it
you
has
don't
to be.
think so?
It has to be some kind of blanket campaign, just the same way they attack cigarettes.
Okay.
And any other thing they want kids to like stay away from. Take the same mechanism,
Okay, just say yes, not to just say no campaign.
kind of like that. But those
Plummet,
can-
just say yes.
but they pound that stuff in.
Okay,
That's what you got to do.
so
So
just
kind of campaign like that, but not cigarettes or drugs. It's the trades.
is there a famous person who somewhat works in this field or has a background in that field? Because I mean, that's
Guys that came up working with their hands.
But here's the thing: even if they came up working with their hands, they eventually got into something else that made them famous, which is they got out of doing that job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There was that guy Mike Rowe that had the dirty job.
Yeah, you know how he got famous?
Oh.
He got a union card joining an opera.
Right, there you go.
I don't know if he's a guy we want to
Push
use.
opera. We need young fat people in the opera.
You're too fat to sing.
We don't have a fat woman to sing anymore.
Too fat, dude.
Died.
Why is she dead?
She had a heart attack.
What is wrong with you? It's so dark today. 252 WCMF. We're talking about this program, the Finger Lakes Youth Apprenticeship Program, and it's a brilliant idea. Every year, they have their annual signing day, and the apprenticeship program gives kids an opportunity from high school to get paid co-ops and apprenticeships, job shadowing with 10 different companies. Over the last however many years, they've connected over 800 kids with local businesses, in positions where we need kids to do it.
Yeah, working with your hands.
And they do this signing day much like kids who are playing college sports do their signing day. They have the kids pick which apprenticeship or job share they want to do. They put down a little piece of paper in front of a backdrop. They got two grown-ass guys who work in the trade sit next to them. They sign. They hand them a jersey with the name of the business. They take a picture. It's a big to-do. The news comes down. It makes it cool and fun. How do you make the trades cool and fun? Dan is on CMF. Hey, Danny boy. What's up, buddy? Dan, you there?
Hey, how's it going,
Good,
man?
good, brother. What do you got?
Well, my son recently just started a co-op, and how he started is he saw my paycheck.
Okay,
He said, Damn, Dad, you make a lot of money.
How old is your son?
He is 17.
Oh, perfect.
Okay,
He's,
so
a, he's a senior in high school, and he goes to Wamoco for electricity, and he just started a co-op.
he's not to be an electrician. He goes for electricity. All right, so Dan, but here's
Be an electrician.
No, I got you. Dan, here is my question, because maybe your son understands the value of money. I do wonder, even with seeing the paycheck of someone who works in the trades, if it would register with the kid what an opportunity this is. Because, Dan, when I was that age, I kind of assumed whatever I did when I grew up, I was just going to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't
I
matter.
think every kid's like that.
Just roll out whatever job, and I'm going to be the most successful of all time.
True. And, well, he got to see me as well,
Okay.
being an electrician and seeing the trades.
Okay.
So, and he's a tinker like I am, so.
All right. I mean, Danny, do you think you'll be able to handle it?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, there you go. Have a little faith in the kid. That goes a long way, Tommy.
That's it. Positivity.
Yes, positive reinforcement. It's not being a bitch. It's making sure your lights work 30 years from now when you got to call somebody.
Indeed.
Dan, thanks for the call, man. Good luck with your son.
Thank you. Go Bills.
Go Bills. 252 WCMF. Let's talk to, we were looking for a celebrity.
Okay.
Who,
that came up through the ranks.
Yeah, that we can use as like a poster child. Let's
All
talk
right.
to Natasha. Hello, Natasha.
Good morning, gentlemen. So it's not necessarily the trades, but it's even harder. What about agriculture? I mean, you've got an MVP that is Josh Allen, who's literally a farm kid.
Yep.
Grew up in California with cotton and nuts, I believe.
Big old dork with a
let's
4-H
use it.
coat.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with that life.
No.
That is my life. I'm literally pulling into my second dairy farm right now.
Why
Like,
Why would you need two dairy farms, Natasha?
She's got two
you
hands.
can't fit them all in one spot. I got a lot of cows.
So you're
literally, I think there's a resource there. He's already doing some of that podcast work, right? Like, let's get kids to think about the idea of you can drive incredibly huge equipment. You can work on large-scale agricultural stuff. The amount of smart tech going into ag right now is insane.
I mean,
Guys
she's
are
not-
drawing.
I'm sorry, Natasha. I
Go
didn't mean to
ahead.
cut you off. No, I mean, she's not wrong. And we talked a couple months ago,
What's
again,
that?
how the state of New York is trying to find younger farmers because people are aging out
Yeah.
of that thing. And we talked about how hard
But
that
that
would be.
is backbreaking work.
Not as hard as
No,
being
it's
an
not.
MVP.
I mean,
buddy.
if you actually do the science side of it, dude, like, grow up.
Yeah,
You
dude.
have no cows by hand anymore. I mean, this is not your father's farm. This is literally mechanics. This is incredible engineering nowadays. There's guys flying drones, like specifically dusting specific areas of my field that are low in phosphorus. Like, the ideas and the concepts out there are incredible. This isn't backbreaking work.
Well,
dude.
Tommy was
Well,
just.
how do you get the
Natasha
food
should-
out of the ground?
You should like go like recruit people, Natasha. Like I feel like I want to go work on a farm.
You're
talking to
dressed for it right
Natasha.
now. You go. They'll pull up a flatbed right up front.
And Tommy, you were just saying that your fennel felt less phosphorus.
Yes,
So
yes,
this
yeah,
would
yeah,
actually help you
yeah.
out.
This would actually help him. Absolutely.
Natasha, that's a great call. Thank you. I appreciate the call.
Bye, guys.
All right, take care.
There you go.
252
It ain't you
WCMF.
dead.
Tommy
Daddy's
wanted
farm.
to make fun of that so bad, but he couldn't wrap his head around the word she was using.
But too much, Miguel, too much.
Much like that phosphorus drone. So, here's the thing, and
What's
I see
that?
you guys on hold, sit tight. There's a lot of kids that want to work with their hands. There are a lot of kids that don't know what they want to do for a living,
Yeah.
and their families can't afford to burn $30,000 where they go looking for it at a college campus.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong. Again, whenever we have these discussions, it becomes a battle because I'm looking
Yeah.
at the Facebook
It's like
messages.
all in on one or the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, between college and trades. There's nothing wrong with both. I mean, if a kid has
Wants
a
to test
passion,
the waters,
yes,
yeah.
for
Yeah.
college or wants to see what that's like, that kid should go do it. They get one life, right? But it's also possible that kid doesn't understand the benefits that could be waiting
True.
for them on the other side. And there's another interesting part of this.
Yeah, farm droning.
Farm droning.
Farm droning is the life for me.
I think you could also make the argument
What's that?
that the guys that are angry about this, kids not joining the trades, also their fathers are the reason why nobody's in. Parents who did these jobs back in the day,
Yeah.
the trades jobs, the union jobs, a lot of them did them because they didn't want their kids to have to do them. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, the next generation was going to have a better life.
It's American Dream syndrome,
Yeah.
right? Like I bust
An
my ass.
easier life.
Yes, I'm going to bust my ass so I can afford for you to go to college, and you're going to have a better life than me.
And that happened.
And that's great.
And then we ran out of people to do these jobs.
Exactly, and I think that also contributed to the idea that these jobs were lesser than other jobs because the men that were doing them did them so their kids didn't have to do them.
Because they were taken for granted.
Agreed.
You know, it was an automatic.
Yes, I mean, look, you ain't got people coming off of boats anymore that are willing
Lining
to take
up. Yeah, there isn't 10 guys looking for one job.
Exactly. 252 WCMF, making the trades cool. I think we're making progress.
Hey.
We're nailing it.
Timmy's ready to hit the farms right now.
Let's talk to Adam. Adam, how are you, buddy?
Good. How you doing?
Good, man.
So, finished carpenter, 37 years. My son's 13. Since he was smaller, I was good with his hands.
Okay.
I'd buy him Legos, he'd put them together, and then he'd actually take them apart and build something else out of what he had. And it was like, wow, already I can see he wants to do what I do. But no, he wants to play games.
All right, Adam, fight it. Hold on, fight it. I feel the old man coming out of you. Fight it, Adam.
Yeah, so I brought him to work a couple times. He kind of was, like the first day, he was like, okay. And then by the second day, can I get my phone? Can I get my phone out of the car? When are we going home?
Hey, your son sounds like a grown man.
Right?
So what'd you do?
I said, okay, maybe the money. So one day I got a big wad of cash from a customer, and I go, look, you see this right here? This is what you can get from doing this. And literally,
Man, it works with strippers.
Right? But he wants to be an F1 driver. I says, well, you better find a rich girlfriend then.
Yeah, they all have hot girlfriends, bro.
All right, so Adam, your son is currently 13?
13, yes.
Okay, so you don't see him wanting to go down that same road. I mean, Adam, listen.
Still
If he
early.
likes cars, he could be a mechanic.
Well, actually, last week he told me that he's gonna be a freshman next year. He's gonna drop French and take woodworking.
Okay.
Okay.
So that might have some light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know if he's doing it because he doesn't want to do French anymore, or maybe right. Which he should already know because his mother's French Canadian, but she never taught him French. So I thought it would be exactly.
You
I thought
can't
it'd be
win.
easy for him, but he didn't do it. He didn't do it.
All right, Adam, let me say this.
But, he don't want to complain.
He's only 13, though. I mean, he's figuring it out.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he wants to drive a fast car.
And here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. And Adam, I get it, man. I understand the frustration of being a father. Man. And also, like, the hope that your kids see you in such a light as a hero that they want to, go down the same path that you did. But, I mean, Adam, if your son grows up and decides, that's not for him, that could also be a blessing in disguise. I mean, maybe he's got aspirations that go in a different direction that he'd be better at than being a carpenter.
No, I hope so. I do hope so. But right now, this business, there's nobody coming up. Like I said, I've been doing it 37 years. There's a couple other guys my age been doing it just as long, and right now we're at the top of the line of everybody doing it.
Yeah.
But there's no young kids coming up.
Got no
And pretty
shelves.
Soon, there's going to be nobody
Books
to
are
do
on the floor.
any of this. Nothing. No one's going to be here to do anything.
And if you want a French-speaking carpenter, you can just forget about it, man.
Oh, yeah, forget that.
Adam, good luck with your boy, son. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, guys.
There goes Adam. I mean, it's an interesting idea. Well, like what we're looking at here, because you have all this money on the table, right? Like he said, it is just there for the taking.
Yeah.
All you have to do is show these kids how successful they can be in a job that cannot be eliminated.
Yeah.
AI ain't gonna build a shelf for you.
But I
God,
don't
no,
know.
I sound like an old man.
But I don't know how much that resonates with a 13-year-old.
Well, 13's young.
Yeah, 13's young.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
It's also a lot of these jobs are interesting because they're jobs that if you don't get into them or are interested in them when you're at that, 18 age, it seems like something you don't switch over to later in life. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I
which
mean, I'm
is-
sure it would be really hard to do that. But like it's almost like if you don't get a kid interested in it early, like it's just you're never gonna get that. You're never gonna hook that person.
It's a good point. Maybe they're fishing in the wrong pond. Maybe you go after guys in their maybe
I don't
women
know,
in
but
their 20s.
does that exist? Like, are people learning that later in life?
A
So-
grown ass trade school.
I got one family member. They moved to South Carolina. The guy was in real estate in New York.
Yeah.
Goes down, excuse me, with my niece. Loves to tinker. The real estate business is kind of tough.
Sure.
He ends up being a heating and cooling guy. He went through the program in a year, and he's a heating and cooling guy, like an Isaac.
No kidding.
Yeah.
All right, maybe.
And this guy, and the kid's, I say kid, he's 50 years old.
I mean, look, now we're solving all kinds of problems. Not only are we making the trades cool, we're coming up with grown-ass trade school.
Look at this.
Come on, we're doing it, man.
Adult trade school.
Doing it. Break room. All right, let's take a break. Your kid grew up and be a politician.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. This will be the third time in 2 weeks we talk about this man.
Yeah, he's had quite a run.
Yes. Well, he finally, through his lawyer, put out a statement with the allegations he's facing involving a former employee and comments that he allegedly made. And it takes a big man to say you're sorry.
Yeah.
But see, when you say I'm sorry and then follow it up with these words,
Okay.
you're not actually saying I'm sorry. And we'll get into it next here in the break room. I'll see you then. It takes a big man to apologize.
Oh, yeah.
It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be the credit one politician who's been all over the news is looking for.
Okay.
However, there are different kinds of apologies.
Okay.
And this may not be the let's move on move
Yeah.
that this town supervisor maybe thinks it is.
So what happened?
You're hanging out in the break room, Rochester's Classic Rock 96.5. WCMF will jump right into it. Over the last 2 weeks, Arundecoit Town Supervisor Andre Evans has been embroiled in a sexual harassment scandal. We talked about it twice last week. A former employee who resigned from her job claims that Evans made several remarks and comments involving her body and their relationship that made it impossible for her to work with him. And I want to be clear, according to her, the relationship was strictly professional. He allegedly made comments about her legs, asking if she thought other employees believed they were, and I'm quoting the report, boinking. In his interview, the town supervisor said he doesn't even use the word boinking.
I don't
when
know
he's
if you
boinking.
use the word boinking.
There's allegations of an awkward interaction involving comments he made about her in a bathing suit by a pool. There is a moment at the 4th of July Arundecoit
Now, this is
Festival.
specific.
Yes, where allegedly a hot dog and the female anatomy came up. All of this being reported by an independent investigation done by an outside third party. And right now they are all just allegations.
Yeah.
We are a fair show. They are just allegations. And Evans, the supervisor, has
Yeah.
maintained his innocence. So much so that even last week he said he still planned on running for re-election.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere.
All right, well, things kind of changed over the weekend.
Right.
He is still planning on running for re-election, and he still maintains he did nothing wrong. But he's here to say he's sorry.
Okay.
In a statement from the law firm representing him that came out over the weekend, he said, and I quote, I first need to apologize if my words were heard in either a diminishing or inappropriate way by anyone. I would never intend to cause harm with anything I said, and I am simply so sorry if my words were heard in a way I did not mean. So just to summarize that quote,
All right.
he's sorry if you heard it wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's not an apology.
Yes. Yeah.
He's apologizing for you,
For you
taking
being
it the
offended.
yes.
You took it the wrong way.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you doing, man? Like, because you say, like, maybe I said these things, but if I did and you took offense, that's on you, and I'm sorry you
Right.
did that.
You're
right?
too sensitive.
You got it. But he goes on.
All right.
He goes on. It's a
All
long
right.
apology. Quote, having worked with people from different generations and backgrounds, I am acutely aware that friendly banter can be misunderstood, and I regret saying anything that was taken in a harmful manner. And here's the other thing, end quote. If you've worked with people from different generations and backgrounds and are acutely aware that friendly banter can be misunderstood, you wouldn't have gotten in this mess in the first place.
Yeah.
Because with the allegations here, according to the report, it's not one or two questionable remarks.
Yeah.
There's 34 pages in the report.
That's a lot of boink.
So, well, he doesn't even say that word.
Yeah.
He goes on to talk about his family, how he'll address what he sees as folks coming for him politically in the future. You can read his whole statement on 13wham.com. It is way too long for us to read.
Okay.
Okay. Tommy,
Yeah.
I don't know if this does what it seems this man thinks it's going to do.
We'll just do really anything.
Okay. 'Cause,
I mean, people are already on either side of the. You know what I mean? You're not going to sway anybody.
but even if you're not going to sway, right?
with
Because
a like a legally drafted statement.
again, you're right. You're right. But I mean, have been people who have done wrong. And again, these are just allegations right now. He's maintaining his innocence. You heard his apology there, right? There are people that have done wrong that simply threw up their hands and said, I did wrong and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that's an apology. Because you can't say you're sorry if you don't admit you did something wrong.
Right.
Right.
And he doesn't really admit doing wrong here, other than he was misunderstood by the person that took such offense to his comments.
Yeah.
And then again, he talks about folks from different generations, and he understands the pitfalls and perils. But those people resigned, one of them, instead of working with you.
Right.
How, after everything that came out last week in the allegations, did this make it better than before you said anything?
Because he's never going to. It sounds like he's never going to flat out apologize.
Okay.
Because that admits I was wrong. I did these things.
I can't think of a time we've ever talked about any story like this where there was an actual
Apology.
well, not only just an apology, but a full admission of yes, I said these
Yeah.
things and I shouldn't have, or yes, I did that and I shouldn't have. It's always just I'm sorry if.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to ask a serious question, and I think you're the expert in this room. because I have never, in the 20-some-odd years I've known you, heard you apologize for anything.
Well, if you feel that way,
If is the key thing.
I feel sorry for you.
Okay.
Good.
The phone number is 252-WCMF, 252-9263. And this goes past politicians and people you see on TV.
Yeah.
How are human beings so bad at apologizing?
I think it's men.
No.
No. I mean, we've talked about, keeping it with politicians. We've talked about female politicians who also do not apologize.
All right.
My wife has never said I'm sorry to me in our entire marriage. I'm not making this up.
Oh.
She does not have the physical capability to shape her lips in a way where I am sorry came out of her
I guess
mouth.
because you feel like it's a sign of weakness.
Okay.
Is it a sign of weakness?
Must be.
Or are you...
Shame?
I think sometimes when people tell you that you did something wrong, your immediate reaction is
Defensive.
anger.
You get defensive.
Well, you're mad that somebody would even accuse you of that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why it's harder for people to apologize because, well, like, how dare you even tell me I did something wrong?
Okay, that's a great point, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. But what's shocking about that, Kimmy, is I understand why the knee-jerk reaction when somebody tells you you're wrong.
Yeah,
would
they're
be,
coming at you.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that makes sense. I get it. I get it. But, I mean, there is also time where you walk away from that situation, run it in your
Left
head a
alone
bunch
with
of
your
times.
thoughts?
Exactly, where, look, man,
Yeah.
we've all had those moments where
sure.
we've realized, oh, God, I've done something wrong.
Yeah.
What shocks me, Kimmy, is there aren't enough people in this world that come back afterwards and go, you know what? I'm really sorry. I screwed up back there.
Yeah.
Like, when is the last time you had somebody in your personal life sincerely apologize for doing something wrong?
I can't think of it, but probably if they do, I bet if you apologize, if you sincerely apologize for something, you will be punished for it.
What?
And I
No,
think
that's the problem.
And I think that's the perception.
You think people will go even harder at
Yeah.
you if you apologize?
Yeah, I
But I
knew
don't
it.
get
I
why-
knew it. I knew that guy was like that. I think that is
But that
how
person's
people
gonna
feel.
You're right, but I think that person's going to say that anyways, no matter what statement you make.
Yeah, but now I give them something to hang their hat on.
But here's the thing, man. You've never apologized, so you don't know.
Yeah, true.
I mean, like, that's
It's been
just
a pretty
it.
sweet ride.
Again, I understand why you would think something like that. But you didn't say, I think the perception is. You said, when you apologize.
You will be punished for it.
No. Well, but you're already being punished without apologizing.
Honesty, kindness will always be punished.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard
I'm
in
telling
my
you, man.
life.
Be kind to somebody. They will take advantage of your ass.
I'm kind of people I don't get taken advantage of.
I've seen you. Oh, you kind? You kind?
What? Where have I been taken advantage of? What?
Whoa.
I'm carrying your career through the mud here. How about that?
Thanks.
Getting taken advantage of every day. 252-WCMF, 252-9263. Again, we're talking about the town supervisor for Rondecoy facing all kinds of allegations levied by a former employee, sexual comments alleged about her body, an awkward situation where he commented about her in a bathing suit. Other employees asked if she believed. Other employees thought they were boinking. Alleged comment about a hot dog.
Yeah.
Anatomy, and he apologized, kind of, paraphrasing. You can read the whole apology at 13whammy.com. Said, I apologize if my words were heard wrong.
It's almost like get over it. Kind of.
Well,
In a
it's
legalese
almost-
way.
Yeah, I'm saying I want you to get over it.
Like, here, this is what I'm giving you, so you better take it.
Yeah, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
No, but let's go back to what you said before,
What's up, bud?
right? Like this idea that if you apologize, you will be punished. Neither of you could give me a time in your personal lives where someone sincerely apologized to you. So if you've never done it and no one's ever done it to you, how do you know that you'll be punished?
I can't. I'm sure it has happened.
Give me an example.
I can't remember.
You would, because it never happens. I mean, look, if you've never done it and it's never happened
How'd
to
they
you.
come up with the word if we've never done it? How'd they even come up with a word for
I
it?
don't know. I don't know.
Well, I'm trying to think of just any example of, somebody well-known, like, sincerely apologizing and it not, and it not helping their career, but it didn't end it,
I mean, I'm sure there are examples of it.
But even if somebody does apologize for something, they will point to something else of why that happened.
Okay.
That was out of their control.
Well, I mean,
so like people will do that, saying, "I apologize, but Jesus, my hands were tied. I didn't know that this was going to happen." Like they will point you in another direction.
Okay.
I do get,
even with the apology.
I do understand, though, if you feel like you were misunderstood, wanting to add context to it. Not necessarily making an excuse, but here's why I said what I said. Like, I get the need to defend yourself.
Justify why what
happened. It's the after. It's after you do that and still being sorry. I don't know. It's hard for people to do both. Do that and be sorry about it.
All right, well, let's run an exercise here. All right, I want you to be my wife.
All right.
Oh, what have I done with my life? I'm sorry, I'm looking at you as my wife.
What? So what am I supposed to
All right,
say?
so I yelled at you because I was stressed out at work. I came home, we got in a fight, an argument, we went back and forth. And I'm here to apologize to you now. So you're upset, you take the scene, go.
All right, so why'd you yell at me?
All right, look.
I mean, it was very cruel what you said.
I shouldn't have said what I said, and I was way out of line. I've got a lot of stuff going on at work right now, but that has nothing to do with you. And I really wish I could take back what I said, but I can't, and I'm begging you for forgiveness.
All right, so it's never going to happen again.
I will do everything I can.
Well,
no, but I can't. I don't want to lie to the woman.
So may happen again.
You're not even hot.
So
why am I married to you?
I don't like beards. You can't say I'm sorry, and if I say that it's not, and then say it may happen again, which means you're really not that sorry.
No, but-
because if you're sorry, it would never happen.
But
again.
here's the thing: I can't sit here and promise you it won't. I mean, I'm an emotion. I'm a human with emotions. You don't think that's a satisfactory apology?
Not if it's
going to
happen again.
I'm going to do my best to change it or not let it happen again.
Sounds like sounds kind of vague.
Well, no, because if I said no, it's never going to happen again, and eventually it happens again, you're going to go. You told me this would never happen again, and I want to be put in that spot. I love you, Tommy. I want to be with you forever.
Shave the beard.
I want to throw you over my shoulder and carry you around. Remember those fun Saturdays we used to have before the kids? I think that's a fair, no.
Okay.
No, am I wrong? You don't like that? That's not satisfactory? I'm the one making the money in this goddamn relationship. You come home, no dinner on the table.
Well, you're in the wrong house.
Fennel every night. Every single night. I mean, Kimmy, you and your husband have gotten in arguments before.
Oh, sure.
Is he a good apologizer?
He is. He's very good at apologizing.
What about you?
Probably not as good as he is.
Do you not say I'm sorry?
I've said I'm sorry.
If I asked him, when's the last time you said you were sorry?
No, I think I've definitely said I'm sorry.
Yeah, you ain't.
Yeah,
Yes.
you lie. Why you lie?
I can't think of a specific example in the moment,
There you
but
go.
I have definitely said I'm sorry.
I'm at the point in my relationship, and my wife's great, don't get me wrong, right? But I'm apologizing for things she did just to get everything finished.
Oh, really?
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So you're not sorry.
No, but is she at work yet? Damn it, she's off today. No, I mean, I just want to get over the hump of
You realize though you're not giving a genuine apology by telling us.
No,
this.
I understand. This is
Okay,
now a
all
side
right,
conversation
all right,
about
okay.
the genuine apologies. I just
Yeah, I
want.
say I don't really mean it though.
Haven't we all done it though? I just want this
That's
to be
a whole
over.
different story.
I just hope it just burns itself out. Like we just don't
just
bring
wait
it
it
up.
out.
How are
Just
you
don't bring it
married?
up.
That doesn't solve anything.
No, yeah, it does. It does.
Does
It's out.
it?
Yeah, it happened.
He's got more rings than Belichick wore into the Super Bowl or the thing this weekend. For God's sake.
Yeah, just don't bring it up again.
Look, I mean, I think it all boils down to this,
What?
right? If we were really sit down
Yeah.
and figure this out logically, it is okay to make a mistake.
Yes, it is.
As
We're
long,
human.
As long as you atone for it and do the best you can to change what you did in the first place. And it is mind-blowing how all of us became either so bad or so adverse to saying simply, I am sorry.
Because we don't have any examples of it in front of us.
That is crazy because we haven't even got, I mean, not even everyone loves to tell us when we're wrong. We haven't even gotten a phone call if someone's like, this person said they were sorry.
Yeah.
Not a single one.
Yeah.
Nope.
So are apologies dead forever?
Were they ever alive to begin with?
Oh. Did they ever exist? In
Now
the
I
first
remember
place?
why I love you. Those deep thoughts.
It was always a ghost.
You know what I heard?
What?
There ain't tomorrow in that tank.
Ain't no tomorrow in that tank.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm going to get it right before the show's over.
You ain't got no tomorrow in that tank.
We keep saying it different. Can't
Well,
even agree on that.
We'll offer several different
Yeah.
versions of the T-shirt. All right, let's take a break. If you are a diehard fan of the Break Room, one, what's wrong with you?
And we apologize.
But two, yeah, that was not sincere. Two, a couple of weeks ago, as the Bills started their playoff run, we ran an exercise with Tommy.
What was it?
Well, you, when you make your picks,
Yeah.
pick the games, just days before.
Yeah.
And you screw up really bad. But we thought if we gave you the ability to forecast weeks beyond
Ooh.
how the NFL playoffs would go in their entirety, maybe you'd be better than that.
Okay.
And, Kimmy, we decided the day after the Super Bowl, we would play back these picks
Yeah.
to see
Well, they're all gonna.
how it
Might
all
be
shook
good.
out.
You have no, bro. You can't remember
I
from
can't
Friday to Monday. There's no way you remember it here.
I don't.
We wrap up the NFL season after a Chiefs blitz
Oh yeah.
with the final Muley post-game excuse Monday of the year. The Muley post-game excuse playoff edition. Next, here in the break room. On CMF. as awesome as it was watching the Chiefs just get their absolute ass kicked last night in the Super Bowl, we wake up this morning with the realization.
What's up?
The NFL season is over.
Yeah,
we have nothing to do on Sundays until July when preseason starts again. But before we send off this 2024-2025 NFL season,
where we at?
We have one last thing to take care of. You're hanging out in the break room, Rochester's Classic Rock 96.5, WCMF. So one of our most popular segments, because we don't understand you people, is Tommy Tells It Like It Is, where Tommy makes picks for the upcoming Bills game, completely confident, blindly walking in, knowing nothing about football, and falling on his face all the time.
Yes.
It's essentially Charlie Brown with the football, except he doesn't understand that the football's going to get pulled every week.
I had a couple of good runs.
No, you didn't, actually. You had more offers than you had twofers.
I think you started hot.
You're very hot.
So we can't figure out why Tommy is so bad at this, picking games on Friday that happen on Sunday. And we decided when the playoffs started to see if Tommy prognosticating multiple weeks would actually help him.
Okay.
So we decided to give Tommy a couple of picks how the playoffs in the NFL would go. And he made those picks 4 weeks ago.
All right.
And we said when the Super Bowl was over, the day after, we would replay those picks. So now it is time to see if your long-term predictions
In memory.
are well, I know you don't remember anything you
I
picked.
don't.
So we're all going to find out together. Kimmy, are we ready?
I'm ready.
Let's make it happen.
Tommy told it like it is. And now we find out how it was. Muley, excuse post-game Monday in the break room on WCMF.
Let's get to our first Muley playoff prediction
Let's do it.
on CMF. Over, under, and it's been all the talk the last couple of weeks.
Does he get it? He don't get it.
Exactly. One MVP for Josh Allen.
Is it a split ski? Still getting it?
Well, one half would be a push.
That he's
I'll take the over.
You'll take the over. You think he's the MVP?
He should be.
Okay, no,
I mean,
that's
if you
not-
base it on because they talk about Lamar, right?
Lamar Jackson.
And they're basically saying they think everybody seems to think Lamar is the most talented quarterback, but he also has one of the greatest running backs. That basically he's got a bulldozer behind him that helps him.
Agreed 100%.
So you got to say Josh is doing more with less.
Yep.
So it's got to be him.
Just to be clear,
Genius talk.
you are over one half an MVP for Bills quarterback Josh Allen.
Yes.
Damn, son!
Come on, called it.
Look at that!
Called it.
You sounded like an actual sports talking head there.
How about that?
Wow!
Yeah.
What were you?
I remember that.
What were you listening to the
Yeah,
day
who told
before?
it? Who said it first?
Oh, you're 1-0.
Look at that.
Oh my God!
All right, so that's it.
No.
All right, coming up.
Wait. You don't remember any of the picks. How do you know that you didn't do better on the second one?
Yeah.
What if the key to you picking the games is picking a month ahead of time?
Right.
All right, let's get to our second pick from a Muley post-game playoff Monday on CMF. Over under 2 1/2 wins for your Buffalo Bills in the playoffs.
I say their balls are going to be in that dome.
Wow.
Balls in dome.
So you see,
Put that on a T-shirt.
You,
Sell it at a truck stop.
you'd sell a lot of those at truck stop. You think Josh is taking this team to New Orleans for the Super Bowl?
It has to happen. This is it.
No, it doesn't. Okay, I
This is
hate
your
when
shot.
you do this. No, it's not your shot. You said last year and the year before was your shot, and they just keep getting
This
better.
is your double lash.
This has felt like a magical season.
To say that it's now or never is a stupid take. That is
Stick around, brother.
Okay, so to be clear, you have the Bills over 2.5 wins in the playoffs. Okay.
Well, obviously they didn't go.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I do find it interesting that you see a loss in the AFC Championship game as a failure of a season.
It is.
No, it's
It felt like it. Just 'cause
It is.
was-
It is a failure.
because it was against the Chiefs.
And you should be over this by now.
Yeah.
You should have this team figured out by now.
a rebuilding year. They didn't have. I mean, look last
But
night.
you got there.
Last night, you saw when a team has a legitimate deep threat, how vulnerable that Chiefs defense is. And I mean, the Bills didn't have that this year. It wasn't something they were able to pull off. But next year, next year, buddy, you're 1-1. That's not terrible.
That's tough in this league.
It's a Muley post-game excuse playoff Monday. A month ago, he made picks involving the entire playoffs as we ran an experiment to see if it was just the weekly picks that were throwing him off, if he could prognosticate better with more time involved.
Yes.
Now let's get to our third pick from Tommy here on CMF. Over under 2.5 home playoff games for the Bills.
Well, I'm thinking the Bills are. This is it,
Yeah, but you would
and it's all got to line up.
But even if they continue,
Like this,
it
see?
doesn't.
stop that.
This is more do
Go
the
ahead.
Chiefs lose? That's what we're.
Well, the
that's
Bills would
more.
also have to win 2 games.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
All right, I'm going to take that.
You're
one.
going over, you idiot.
Yeah, 3 home games. Damn. How exciting would that be, though, bro?
The Bills
Pretty
had.
freaking cool.
But here's the thing.
This is like Jim Kelly days.
It wasn't that long ago the Bills had the opportunity to do that. And again, if you have BTSD, Bills Traumatic Stress Disorder, change the station. Again, you have to handle business potentially against the Ravens to even have a shot.
The Ravens are the only team that's scared me.
Okay. You're not scared by the Chiefs?
No.
With all the recent history?
Yeah.
No. I think that Ravens team is tough.
Oh, why? No, the easy was the under. They had to win 2 games, and the Chiefs had to lose 1 game.
If I picked that, you don't get to kick me around like you.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you're doing it for me, man. No, you pick these grandiose picks thinking that if they
I
hit,
hope this team does better, man.
you're too selfish, man. I know you better than you know you.
What do
You want
know?
these grandiose picks, so if they hit, you get to sit here in your turquoise sneakers and go, look how smart I am. But they never hit. Learn your lesson, stupid. All right, you're 1 and 2.
All right.
But you got a chance to get even here. Because
I had that leadoff home run.
The final pick.
Yeah, there was no bonus pick, so this will make you 500 on the playoff pick.
All right, let's do it.
Let's get to our final pick from Tommy here on CMF. Over under 1/2 a rally at the end of the season in downtown Buffalo.
So no matter there was win, one. lose.
I mean, they could lose. After. Do they have? I guess the question would
After
be
what?
if they
The
make
game.
it to the Super Bowl and
Listen.
lose, do they have something in downtown Buffalo for?
Oh, I would think.
You think so?
Yeah.
When's the last team to lose and have something like that? I don't remember recently, Kimmy. I think you can make the argument that this team is so good and there are still expectations no matter what happens that if you went to the Super Bowl and lost, we're going to save it for when we actually win.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
you
you'd
don't
have
think it
people.
would just organically people would just show up?
You'd have
like
people
at the airport
showing up
and
at the
everything?
airport, but
I
does
said
that
downtown
count?
Buffalo.
Yeah.
So it has to be
We're talking
downtown
like-
Yes.
organized.
Yeah.
That would be organized by the city of Buffalo.
All right, here, I'll give you this. 10 or more players downtown. Whether or not it's organized by the city of Buffalo, if you have a gathering of 10 or more players with fans downtown,
fans.
we'll count that as a rally.
Yeah, I think that would happen.
Even if they were to go to the Super Bowl and lose.
Yeah.
Okay, so to be clear, you are over 1/2 a downtown rally
Yeah.
at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to argue that the pep rally to send them to Kansas City was the rally, there were 0 players at the rally.
But people did greet him at the airport.
Literally said in there, airport doesn't count.
Yeah.
But it's very close to the downtown.
I don't know, actually, it's not.
It's very close
I mean,
compared to most cities.
well,
Honestly,
Damn near right next to the buildings.
not as many people showed up to the airport as they have in the past.
All right.
Yeah, it was cold and late.
Yeah.
All right, so I would like to send a very special thank you as you went
To
1
who?
and 3. A
By
man
the way,
named-
if the Bills would have went to the Super Bowl, I would have swept.
yeah,
Would have helped. Yeah.
yeah. If my aunt was a man, she'd be my uncle, or what's that old man saying?
If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle.
No, that's too gross for me.
She could still be your aunt with balls.
No, I agree with you. Like, it's an
mean,
old
today's-
saying.
Yes, it needs to be updated.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We
Let's
need to
fix that.
accept more people in these jokes.
But I would like to thank Mark, no matter what his aunt's situation.
Who's Mark?
Mark Diltz has been following and keeping statistics on all of our picks all season long.
dilt stat.
So somebody's doing our job for us.
Absolutely, because I'm not smart enough to pull this off.
It's a dilt.
So, excluding the picks you just made.
Yeah.
Okay.
What,
Your final tally for the year, you made 105 picks all season long.
all right.
You had 33 correct.
Okay.
Which means you averaged 1.6 correct picks per week,
Hmm.
which is abysmal, especially when we discover
I think that's as good as anybody does on TV.
Danger, who is on the show with us every Friday.
How do you do?
He had 62 out of 100
Well,
picks
he knows
correct.
he does all that deep research.
Not
stuff.
only did he have a 600% winning percentage out of 100 picks he made, he averaged 3.1 right picks a week out of 5 picks.
He should get a job in sports.
That's amazing.
That's pretty good.
Like, do you know the money you would make in Vegas if you put money down? That's amazing.
He should do it.
And you are terrible. Terrible? Amazing.
All right. Well, you need contrast.
Like, he literally, on average, had 2 more picks than you did every week.
Yeah, but he does all that. He does a lot of safe picks.
Well, and I feel like
You could also
I
do
feel
that.
like Tommy's bonus pick was a given for the experts every week.
He's still
He
averaged-
At least, that always. I think
Yeah, I
that
take
bumps up
risks,
the
man.
average
There's
a
no
little
risk.
bit.
Guy's named Danger. Doesn't take any dangerous takes.
Okay, let's take out the bonus pick. He still averaged 1 more
I'm
right
hanging
than you
out there, baby.
on a weekly basis.
That's how you do Vegas. You stick it out.
Who's in Vegas? We're in Rochester. We got Sportsbooks legal on my phone. Saquon Barkley and his anytime touchdown cost me a $200 parlay last night. Thanks a lot, Quads. Happy birthday. Dick.
Quad.
I'm sorry. I overreacted. It was really fun watching him win the Super Bowl. All right, let's take a break.
All right.
Valentine's Day is on Friday.
Yep.
And most of the time you're thinking about what to get your lover. But what about someone who is no longer your lover?
Well, you're off the hook.
Yeah, but some people want to do this.
Wait, somebody I'm not with anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do something for Valentine's Day.
Well, see,
why?
Well, here's the thing. You're thinking romance when these people are thinking revenge. And this is insane, but so many of these businesses exist, Kimmy, and they make money that there must be enough
Really?
men or
There's
women.
got to be interest in it. Right?
Kimmy.
Yeah.
And like when we tell you what you can send to your ex.
Oh, no.
We'll get into it
Damn.
next here at the break room. On CMF. Valentine's Day is on Friday.
Yeah.
And most people are thinking about what they are going to do for their lover.
Who we boinking?
But this story shows I don't use boinking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But this story shows us there
Yeah.
are also people deciding what to do for their ex. Because apparently there are a ton of businesses
Yeah.
that will deliver all kinds of things to your former romantic partners to show you how you now feel about them. And Tommy, if all of these places are in business,
Yeah.
it must mean that folks are spending the money.
You got to really be an ass
I don't even
to
think
drop that kind of bank on somebody after the fact.
I don't think ass even like comes close to describing what you might be.
Oh.
We'll get into it. You're hanging out in the break room. Rochester's Classic Rock 96.5 WCMF. Allow us in the break room to introduce you to the saddest of all Valentine's Day businesses. Story in the DNC this week details what can only be described as, I guess, Valentine's Day revenge shops. So first off,
Yeah.
there are several zoos that will allow you to spend money
Zoo.
to feel better about someone who left you. For example, an animal sanctuary in Oregon will allow you for $75 to feed a jello mold of your ex's heart to a wildcat they have on premises.
So watch your
Ooh, that's
this
dark.
animal maul your lover.
Eat their heart.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Maul them.
Well,
Eat
Yep.
them. Yeah.
The,
Yeah.
the Minnesota Zoo for $15 will name a cockroach after an ex of yours,
Okay, I've heard of that one.
and then they will feed it to a zoo animal and videotape it for
All
you. Pennsylvania's Lehigh Valley Zoo allows you to name a fish after an ex. Then they'll send you a video of your ex's fish being fed to an African penguin.
All right.
Now, it's very weird that you would want to do that,
Yeah.
right?
It's just for your own satisfaction.
Yep.
Right? I mean, I guess you could send the video to your ex, but that would be
What
kind of
happened
weird.
to just dead roses?
Why anything? But we'll
Yeah.
get to that. We'll
yeah.
get to that.
Yeah, I agree.
But here's the thing. With these things we just named, to Kimmy's point, only you would know about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird, but you wouldn't involve anybody else.
Yeah.
Because there's actually another segment of ex-Valentine's Day gifts that can show up right in their door.
Yeah.
Trollcakes.com will send a cake with something terrible written on it to your ex's front step.
All right.
And I am currently looking at one right now that says, "Sorry, you're such a hateful person, Beth." But the cake looks good.
So I knew somebody that got fired that sent one to our old GM. But I think he just had it done at a local bakery.
Yeah, I mean, that would make the most
and
sense.
had it delivered, and it was pretty heinous.
Sure. Yeah. Again.
But they
think
wrote
his-
it. They did it all
yeah.
for you.
I think
all
his-
professional.
I think most local bakeries will do something like that as long as it's not like a threat or like
Yeah.
there's, something really dirty.
Okay, so let's say you're not in the mood for a cake.
Yeah.
A company called Boldface will send one of their rude ribbons to let you know how much you hate them.
A ribbon.
Or think of like when you were a kid, you would get like a ribbon that would you would pin on your shirt.
yeah. Like a first place ribbon.
Yep, things like such a jerk, number one douchebag, just a few of the options.
That's
you
got to
can
be
buy.
a headliner.
A company called The Payback for $19.99 will send your ex a dead, smelly fish in a box through the mail.
Couldn't you just do that yourself?
You
Man,
could.
I'm
you
surprised that's legal.
Well, we'll get into that in a sec
Yeah.
because the most ridiculous one is a website called poopsenders.com.
Oh, no.
And it offers a variety of dumps they will send to your ex's place in a
Well,
box.
they do push that
Real.
one where you can take a dump in a box and have your
Well,
colon
that's
checked.
different.
Yeah, that's-
So it's just like you just put a different label on it.
Oh, you didn't let me finish.
What?
This ain't human dump, bro.
Yeah, I think you could pick from different animals. or
Elephant,
something.
gorilla, combo pack. They got all kinds of dumps.
I wonder what's worse.
Elephant or gorilla dump? It's got to be elephant.
It's good. Yeah.
Just the
it's
size.
bigger.
Well, you probably don't get the entire dump.
No, I mean, I don't know.
that
Maybe
would
they
be like a steamer trunk. I told you, I saw one take a whiz one time and it filled up a 50-gallon drum.
The fact that you keep telling that story leads me to believe you're into some weird
Bro,
stuff.
it was amazing to see the force of the urine on that animal.
Man, who knows so many radio guys were into that?
Well, we were all watching it,
By
cheering
the-
them on.
But you asked if that was legal.
Yes.
Poopsenders.com.
So it's just dump in a box.
But it offers to let you pay in cash so it can't be traced back to you, which tells me these might be walking the line of not legal.
Right, toxic things can't be sent in the mail.
There you go.
All right.
Phone number is 252-WCMF, 252-9263. What kind of psycho does something with this to an ex on Valentine's Day?
Because it makes you look worse than the person.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And
Thank
you're
you.
also letting that person know, hey, thinking about you.
Thank you.
Whether it's bad or good, like you went so out of your way to do this for somebody that you're no longer with. I would think their first thought is like, you're the psychopath.
Yeah, because I live rent-free in your head.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, if all three of us that never agree on anything at the same time agree on this, how are there people that think this is a good idea?
But they're so blinded
Unless
they're pissed, I guess.
The thing that would make more sense to me is if this person still thinks you're together and, like, let's say you caught them cheating or doing something, and this is like your final, like, see ya, I know what you did, goodbye kind of gift. I don't know.
Like a parting shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but also was I dating a 12-year-old? Like, we can't be adults about this?
Well, if you were adults, you'd probably still be together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that at that point it's like petty versus petty kind of thing.
I'm surprised I never got one of these.
Yeah, but you're not worth the time. Like,
I mean, I've gotten hate. I got hate letter, but like that's it.
No fish.
No fish.
Are you disappointed?
Kind of now, man.
I mean, yeah, you did do some
working on my game a little.
pretty cruel things.
I didn't. Well, hold on.
No, I mean she's not wrong.
I mean,
I did not do cruel things.
Well, yeah. I mean, people loved you enough to want to be with you, and you were just like, I wasn't really that into her, or like, she thought I was getting married, but I, cheated. Like, it's just those are cruel things.
Not that cruel. Cruel is like when they torture you and stuff.
No, I mean let's decide what's
like
cruel.
Al
and
Qaeda.
Let's decide what's cruel and what's not cruel. Right. Because if I'm telling the story wrong, you jump
cruel,
in.
no cruel. I love this.
Cruel or no cruel? Where are they crueling? You were engaged to a woman in Kentucky, and you were cheating on her all over the place, right? But that's beside the point. You had a main side chick whose name was Troutmouth because of the way she looked.
Yes.
Your Kentucky fiance was rich and beautiful. She loved you very much.
Yeah.
She was under the impression that when you got this job in Rochester in the early 90s, she was moving up there with you.
Yeah, we had wedding plans.
The wedding was planned. Money was spent.
Deposits in.
You then broke off the engagement.
Knowing this whole time you weren't going to get married.
Yep.
Yes.
Without telling her that you cheated on her.
Get to the cruel part.
You then let Troutmouth believe she was going to be moving up to Rochester with you so you could continue to have sex with her. You then broke that off.
Yeah.
How is that not cruelty?
But all of those things.
But the woman I cheated with.
Which one?
On the girl from Kentucky. Here ended up being my second wife.
How'd that go?
Well, we'll get to that. All right.
That is the definition of cruelty. Like from every, it's like a Rubik's Cube of cruelty. No matter which way you do it, cruel, 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 cruel. 252 WCMF. We're talking about, I guess, what can only be described as the X-Revenge Valentine's Day market. Zoos that will allow you to name animals and then have them fed to other animals. Companies that will send terrible cakes with bad things written on them to your ex's front door.
That's a good one.
A company called The Payback will send a dead smelly fish. Poopsenders.com will send them a variety of animal dumps if you'd like to. We're talking about revenge.
Yeah.
There is another way to look at reaching out to an ex on Valentine's Day.
What's that?
Well, let's say you want to give it another go, Kimmy, with someone that it didn't work with in the past.
Okay, like you're feeling all of a sudden maybe a little lonely. You
Like
want to
getting
reach
back
out
together?
to somebody you had a connection with before. Okay, this might be the time of year where that happens.
Is Valentine's Day a good day to rekindle a spark with someone that you regret?
I guess it starts the conversation if they're single and you're single. I mean, you got to expect that there's always a possibility you get shot down, but maybe it's a conversation starter.
Thoughts?
It's kind of lame that you're using Valentine's Day.
Yeah, but if that person
what I mean?
is also in the same boat, they may be more likely to
Hey, Fugly.
engage.
What's up? Yeah, me too. Yep. Yeah, just sitting around. Dinner for one.
It kind of makes both of you feel less lonely.
But, I mean, isn't that kind of like psychological warfare?
It's like loser line.
Well, no, loser line.
Call now.
Why would you call that?
Because you're a loser.
Is this a guy yelling loser over the phone?
Hello, loser.
It was $2 a minute. No, I mean, Kimmy, I think you can make the argument that if you are trying to get back with this person, doing it around Valentine's Day is not an appropriate time because they're going to be all wrapped up and feeling lonely on Valentine's Day, the romance of the season, seeing their friends with people.
Yeah.
Like, the way to see if it's actually going to work would be
I'm
to
not
do
saying it's going to work if you do this. This is more just like a here and now kind of thing.
Any port in a storm?
Yeah, kind of.
And I guess it depends on how you left it. You know what I mean? Because that's a heavy lift, to Kimmy's point, of it working your way. Like thinking you're going to get back together.
Well,
I mean, the odds are really stacked against you.
I don't know. There are people that break up and get back together.
I'm sure there are, but I'm just saying if you did the percentages,
Sure.
it's got to be tough.
Okay. You're also a man that said 99% of restaurants that open close within the first 6
Bro,
months.
where are they? They're all gone.
No food.
No food.
Nobody wants to cook anymore.
They don't.
We got Facebook messages coming in. You can always get us at WCMF or the Break Room Facebook page. Brett writes us, don't be such a Debbie Downer. If sending stuff like this to an ex makes them feel better, they should be able to have their fun. Okay, but you're feeling better at someone else's expense.
And it makes you look terrible.
Thank you. And, like, if someone you know told you their ex sent a dump in a box to them, there is no way you're siding with the person who sent the dump in a box.
I would hope not.
I'll go even further. I don't think I want to ever meet the person who sent the dump in the box.
No.
Hold on.
What?
Hold on now. If I was working with somebody and I knew they were kind of a jerk, right? And I knew that they were thinking about doing this, like sending a dump in a box, I would definitely encourage them to do it.
Yeah, you just proved my point. You're trying to...
Let's say you liked the person, though, that decided they might send this. You wouldn't try to talk them out. You wouldn't try to talk a buddy out of doing this.
Let's say my wife and I break up. I'm going to send her a dump in a box.
But you're not that kind of guy.
How do you know?
Well, Tommy would talk you out of it because he needs your wife still.
Yes. You're not that kind of dude. But guys in my past, yes.
Okay. You would talk him into dump in a box.
Bro, so there's some guys, by the time we had the conversation, he'd already sent it.
I love how
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I would tell a friend, please do not do. You're gonna look crazy.
Like I knew people that did things to people, and then they told me about it.
People doing things to people.
Nasty ass stuff.
Understood.
And we both howl with laughter. And I know that makes me terrible.
Look, I mean, if you're thinking about doing something like this,
you shouldn't do it.
No,
kids.
I mean, just forget the legality of it, which again is
hold that dump.
Gray area.
Yeah.
You're gonna look like such an idiot.
You will look terrible.
And it's gonna live on forever, and not in like a good way. It's not gonna be like, hey, remember that time Steve sent a dump in the box? It's gonna be like, hey, remember that time Steve sent a dump in the box? That's why he can't come to our wedding.
Well, you don't want that gift.
Let's take a break. Tommy, you are anti
everything, really.
Old artists doing concerts.
Yeah, I mean, after a while, sit your ass down.
Okay.
Boney.
Boney? There's a guy named Boney that just came to Jazz Fest.
I know, Boney James. Very good.
Hey, let me tell you how cool I am. I know names, man.
He's very good.
Boney James, good jazz artist. Let's talk music, guys. Check me out. All right. Hey, out there in Jazz Radio Land. Tommy from the North Coast. This man doesn't get much older.
Okay.
Than this man and the band that he's getting back together.
Now, how far are we pushing this?
Well, that's just it. This will be it. This is it. This ain't one of these like farewell tours that happens 5 times.
This is Farewell Earth?
Well, yes, it is. And I think that's why they are doing this show. And here's the thing, man.
What?
You can make the argument, and a good argument like you make, that you're not in well enough shape to perform the way that the ticket price will indicate.
Yeah.
Right? But on the other hand, I mean, shouldn't you be the one that controls when you get to say you're done?
Oh, yes.
Double middle fingers to Mother Nature, to Father Time.
Your bony ass middle finger.
Yeah, take that.
Be sticking out of the ground.
Got arthritis. You're screaming because it hurts so bad. We're going to tell you which rock legend is reuniting with his band.
Is the band still around?
Yeah, I don't know how many original members are left. I don't think they lost.
Okay.
They're doing one more show, and they were so influential that some of the biggest names in the history of rock and roll will be there to support them playing on the same gig in their hometown.
Man, what a show.
It is. If you could sit through this guy's one final gig.
Okay.
Because it ain't just about age. Mm-hmm. He's also sick.
Oh, Jesus.
We'll get into it next here in the break room. On CMF, you know. we all want to walk away on our own terms.
Sure.
Jobs, relationships, life. You want to be the one who says, you know what, now I'm done. Goodbye.
Take control.
And that's what this legendary band with an even more legendary frontman is doing. But, Tommy, I know you.
What's that?
You think stuff like this is sad and pathetic?
Well, that's what it's going to look like.
So for this final goodbye, is it romantic? Or does Tommy believe this is something they shouldn't even think about doing? You're hanging out in the break room. Rochester's Classic Rock, 96.5. WCMF. Just after 8:45, she misjudged a turn into a house. That's the excuse she went with.
Okay.
And, Kimmy, I'm very surprised that the most punishment you get for this is what she got.
Be a little light.
I mean, I don't want to see anybody over-prosecuted, but I kind of
Yeah.
thought there was more
Okay.
when you did something like this.
Right.
We'll get to it just after 8:45 here in the break room on CMF. Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. They are giving it one last
Why?
hurrah.
Why?
I'm going to tell you why.
He looks like his songs.
What does that mean?
It's death.
It was announced last week
What?
that Ozzy and the band, who will be playing together for the first time in 20 years, are doing a final show in their hometown of Birmingham, England. The final show is scheduled for July 5th. And just a show with Ozzy and Sabbath to say goodbye in their hometown, that would be news enough.
Or you could just stop by and just say goodbye. Bye.
But as a thank you for the road paved by Black Sabbath and Ozzy in the metal and hard rock genres, there will also be sets at this show. You ready for this?
Yeah.
From Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, Alice in Chains, Anthrax, Mastodon, featuring Rochester's own Bill Kelleher and Brandon Daler, amongst others.
All right.
There will be a performance from a super group of rock legends that is far too long to name, but they're all guys that were in big bands that are no longer in big. Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins is in there.
Come on.
Okay. It might be the greatest send-off for a band that was arguably the biggest influence on hard rock and heavy metal music in history, and it gets closed out in their hometown by Ozzy and Sabbath.
But he doesn't have the charisma anymore. He hasn't had the charisma in 20 years. I mean, they made a reality show because he was such a blithering idiot. That was the joke.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Has anybody seen him recently?
Okay, I got some news.
I'm honestly.
God,
okay.
what
We'll
is
get
that?
to it.
He looked terrible 20 years
We'll
ago.
get to it, but here's the thing. Even during the Osbournes reality show, he was a blithering idiot walking around the house. But when he got on stage, a switch flipped. I mean, the guy is a performer.
Yeah, but bro,
He's a performer.
he ain't anymore.
All right. So there's one more problem.
Yeah, what? He craps himself?
Ozzy was diagnosed with Parkinson's back in 2019.
So he's got the handshake.
Yeah, he's 76. It's worse than the shakes. In 2023, he had to stop touring. He gave out, we read it here, an
Yeah,
emotional
I remember
message to
this.
his fans, said he just couldn't do it anymore. Last week, his wife Sharon did an interview where she said his Parkinson's has progressed so much, he is now struggling to walk.
So he can't stand, probably.
Probably not.
I'm guessing he has to sit to perform.
We will see, but hey, that hasn't stopped you from going to see people. B.B. King.
Yeah, but it was kind of disappointing.
Also, did Aretha Franklin sit when you went and saw her?
She couldn't get out of the car.
Okay.
And Johnny Winter, same thing.
Okay.
You know, I'm just saying, like, it really. I mean,
Well,
if he's got Parkinson's, that has to affect your voice.
No, Sharon says because of the rest, his singing voice is stronger than it's ever been. This is his wife. Now, granted, she's also his manager trying to sell tickets,
Yeah.
so take that with a grain of salt.
But do you want to see somebody that almost on their deathbed? I mean, the guy's ill.
You're seeing him though for the potential last time.
It's going to be the last time.
They're going to load him into a
They'll-
can and just shoot him into the.
I mean, you got to.
See.
That would be a very Ozzy goodbye.
I would go see that.
You got to figure with all those people joining him, like they're going to be on stage. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be all him. Like I would think that it's almost kind of going to be like a.
He could die on stage.
He could,
Seriously.
but that would also be a fitting way to end that band,
All right.
to end Ozzy. I mean, look, I don't want to put words in Ozzy's mouth, but I'm guessing if the devil woke him up that morning and said, "We're going to take you on stage," but all right, let's die. All right, the phone number is 252-WCMF, 252-9263. With what we just described happening in Birmingham in July,
Yeah.
is this something that Ozzy and the boys should avoid doing because how it's going to look when the performance starts? Or did they do enough in their lives and their career to decide this is how we're going out, health, age, be damned?
I think this is the future of music. I think as these bands age, they're just going to keep going. I mean, look at some of the acts that are coming here. We got guys in their 90s.
Yeah, I mean, you got Dylan coming. Yeah,
he's in his mid 80s.
Yeah,
the Stones are 80. McCartney. I mean, how late do you want to watch some guy in life perform?
Kimmy, you went to go see McCartney. You said it was a great show.
I did, and I think that the way that they do it, and they'll probably do it as these guys continue to age, like there's so much around it. Like he comes out and he performs, but like there's, people will go off on like solos and stuff. Like he'll have like little breaks here and there, but you still stay entertained and engaged
goes out for ice cream,
with the
comes back.
show while it's happening. So I think that they'll find ways to work around it. So like they may not be giving you like that full, couple hours of a show, but you'll get them in between a lot of entertainment.
And I do want to point out, I get you, because I saw Billy Joel, and his show was amazing.
Like
but
other
you're right.
people will come out and do stuff for a little while, and yeah.
But here's the thing. What you are describing, you're right, it's a reality of touring if you want to see bands that were the most influential in rock history.
Yeah.
This is not that, though. It's not a tour. It's a goodbye.
I
It's
understand.
One show, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done. I mean... This isn't like a situation with Motley Crue a couple years ago where they went back on tour and fans were shocked to see Vince Neil 100 pounds overweight with breathing problems, pastrami hanging out of his mouth, right? Like, walking in that Ozzy is 76,
True.
that he's got Parkinson's. And, like, here's the thing. They deserve this. The influence they've had. Ozzy has always gone balls to the walls with his shows and his
Do you want
albums.
to see somebody with advanced Parkinson's on stage? I just saw something. It was Coldplay brought, not that he's a musician, but they brought him out, and it was Michael J. Fox.
Okay.
On stage.
Oh, yeah, because he plays the guitar.
Yeah, and it was sad and uncomfortable to watch.
For
this.
you?
For anybody.
But if Michael J. Fox gets up there and feels like he's doing it,
I don't want to see that.
so you don't have to watch.
Do it at your house. Don't you have a nice backyard you can annoy your family with your shaky guitar solo?
Bro.
It just made me feel sad for the guy. Like, didn't you get enough attention when you were in shape?
But wait a minute. Here's the thing. Like, why do you get to dictate what he feels
don't.
comfortable doing? It's what you're doing right
But
now.
I don't see the entertainment value in watching somebody
You're talking about
physically suffer. You're right. But you're physically suffering.
I don't know if he's suffering, though.
Bro, Parkinson's and you can't stand up?
Well, no, he does Parkinson's with Ozzy.
You shake.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, any
Debilitating.
Yeah, debilitating.
Check your mouth for something.
Checked it last night.
Yeah?
Parkinson on your mama. Oh, I was shaking all night. She was like, Michael J. Fox out there?
Shut up! Shut up! Why does
Call
my mom?
Coldplay.
Why does my mom sound like Johnny Lee Hooker all of a sudden? Look, man. I look at this story where Ozzy.
Well, you see the positive I see today.
Well, look. I mean, you have Ozzy grabbing Father Time by the ears and telling him, "I'm gonna tell you when I'm done," and I respect that.
Father Time's kicking your ass.
Okay,
man.
but he's got one last in him.
All right.
He's got one last. Look, I love the fact that they're going back to their hometown. I mean, these are working class guys.
Oh, yeah.
These are working class guys. Hell, the guitarist Tony Iommi lost a finger.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
Shaking hands with Ozzy? I thought he just bit off the bird heads.
Got that?
So wait, he was working and he cut his finger?
He's missing this finger, the tip of this finger. That's why the music was so unique. He had to learn how to play it that way. Anyway, the point I'm making
He was also not very good at that job.
Well, that's why, thank God, he found the guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys, you're getting older.
Yes.
Right? And I know that you have fears of what your body is going to do to you that you can't control. And I know that a big fear for anybody over the age of 35 as you start to see your family age and the people that you're working with age is, when am I going to be forced to be done?
Yeah.
And these guys in this situation are saying, you're not going to force anything on me. I'm going to tell you when I'm done. And I love that.
All
I
right.
love that.
Okay. You may not want to watch it. I know it all sounds romantic, but also he's going to look old. That's the other thing.
Yes.
Like, besides being sick, these guys look ancient. Like when I see pictures of like Zeppelin, and they look like they're dead grandmothers.
Okay.
Like it kind of ruins it.
252-WCMF. It was announced last week that Ozzy and Black Sabbath will be getting together for the first time in 20 years to perform a show in their hometown of Birmingham, England. It's their final show ever. And it's not just Ozzy and Sabbath as a tribute.
It's a festival. Really.
Yes, it really is. As a tribute to the band for all they've done for hard rock and metal music, Metallica, Slayer, Pantera, Alice in Chains, Anthrax, Mastodon, among others, plus a super group of rock legends that don't currently have a group right now will all be performing as a thank you to them. It's the last show they're going to do, but Ozzy, he's 76. He had to stop touring because of his Parkinson's. His wife says he is now at a point where it's hard for him to walk, but she says his voice sounds great. I see this as, I'll tell you when I'm done, F you. Tommy sees it as sad and pathetic.
Yes.
252-WCMF. Let's talk to Bob. Hey, Bobo, how are you, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Yo.
So last time Ozzy performed, he looked like a human skeleton, and they wheeled him out on stage in a wheelchair, and then they had to lift him up and kind of sit him on a throne.
Okay, you realize you're describing what I work with every single day.
Kimmy doesn't sit on a throne.
I do, and that's why I'm not sure if I can agree with Tommy or agree with you.
All right, so Bobo, are you a Sabbath fan? Are you an Ozzy fan?
Not hugely, but a little bit.
All right, so let me ask you, as a guy who hears both passionate arguments, one from man who is dick, one from man who is only sometimes a dick, do you appreciate this for what they are doing, or do you think this is a sad situation?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's very sad what they're doing with Ozzy, but it sounds like a hell of a show.
No, but to Pat's point, nobody's doing it to Ozzy. Ozzy's doing it.
Yeah, he wants to do it.
It isn't like he's
I'm not
forced.
sure he has the mental capacity to make up his mind on that one anymore.
Oh.
No, so he did just, they gave him the city of Birmingham. I guess it's a big celebration. They gave them like the greatest.
Is that like a really rundown place?
Yeah, it's like steel mill town.
Bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if it's bad, but it's working class. So, they gave the band like the highest civilian honor they could give them, and he seemed,
what was that, coal?
He seemed,
hey, you lot of coal. Somebody handed he dropped it. He dropped the coal. It's all over his pants now.
Bob, I saw a couple of clips, and he looked pretty lucid, but then again, they could have cut that up to make it look like
Right.
I don't know, Bob.
He could be drugged up.
Probably about 5 days worth of footage condensed down to about 5 minutes of a video.
That just seems cruel keeping him outside for 5 days, Bob.
Well, you got to put the elderly out sometimes.
Bob, thanks for the call.
I saw what you did to Tommy there. So,
hey, Bob, how old are you, buddy?
46.
Okay,
you're a kid.
No, a kid. He's sliding down that elderly slide pretty fast there, Bobo. Death is always at your back. But thanks for the call.
Have a good day, guys.
There goes Bob. Go Bills. I'm sorry, I cut off the Go Bills. Go Bills. So, by the way, it is a charity concert.
Yeah, the charity's on stage.
Did they say what it's?
I hope it's
towards?
Parkinson's.
That's what I wonder.
No, it's diabetes.
I don't know. Though. They did.
It
well,
may
it
not
could
be.
It could also be something
Like
for the
for the
city of
community,
Birmingham.
yeah.
I don't know.
because it's so busted.
I don't know.
Oh,
But I guess
they just hand out coal to the celebrity.
they make him stand outside for 5 days to get it.
There's nobody that you love enough where you would just want to be in the same room as them.
I think it would ruin it. Like I saw Don Rickles late in life at it was at Turning Stone, and I wish I hadn't gone.
Really? So like you regret it?
I saw him before when he was younger, and he had it, and it was just it looked like somebody was just doing it for a paycheck.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
No, I mean I get it. I get it. You are taking a risk and spending the money to go do
and
this.
I mean the guy was trying, but I was looking at an 80-year-old guy doing jokes about Italians carrying ice upstairs.
But don't you guys still do that?
No.
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 We got ice machines and everything, man.
We got replaced, God damn it.
We're winning Super Bowls and we got ice machines. Way to go, Italy. No, I don't know, man. Look, you're right. There is a chance that in buying a ticket to the show, if you are there to see Ozzy and Sabbath walk out for the last time, you are going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
But I also think that, we have this argument all the time when these legends come to town that are over the hill.
Yeah, they're
and
up
then
there.
through the woods and then inside grandmother's house. That sometimes it's not about the music or the performance. Sometimes it's just about sharing a building with a legend.
Yeah, you're seeing a piece of history.
Exactly. Like that guy, Bob Dylan, Willie Nelson, Mick Jagger, Paul McCartney, Billy Joel. I'm in the same room with them.
Yeah.
And maybe that's enough for the people of Birmingham. I mean, these are, hometown kids done good.
I mean, look, I'm sure with a lineup like that, it's going to be insane. It's going to be packed. How could it not?
I mean, I do find it, I think the most romantic part about all this, I love the fact that Ozzy and Sabbath are saying, F you, Father Time. We're going out on our own terms. But the support that Ozzy and Sabbath have from these monsters of the genre that they help create, Like, they are flying across an ocean to play a show at a working class small city to pay their respects to you.
Yeah.
This ain't the O2 Arena. This ain't Pasadena at the
Rose Bowl.
Right? They're going to do a festival in a small soccer stadium where they grew up, and Metallica and Pantera and all of these bands, they're going to go do it for.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. I'm getting chills thinking about it.
You should go.
I mean, I'm not going to go to Birmingham for one concert. All right, let's take a break.
All right.
Look, man, I don't want to see anybody get in trouble that shouldn't get in trouble.
What happened?
I am surprised that with the, according to police admission from this woman, the only charge she's going to face for making a wrong turn into a house is this. And we'll get into it next here in the break room. Let's see you, Matt. Look, I don't want to get anybody in trouble when they shouldn't be in trouble.
Okay.
And maybe this just is how the law is and we assume something differently.
All right, whatever.
But, I mean, I kind of thought when you did this, even if it was an accident, there was a little more of a charge.
Okay.
You're hanging out in the break room, Rochester's Classic Rock, 96.5, WCMF. You know, just after 9 o'clock, we often joke here in the break room.
Too much sometimes.
Let's get serious for a second.
Come on.
We had a lot of fun back there, but seriously. No, we joked that we can't go a week without a local judge doing something so ridiculous they end up in the news.
Like a little embarrassed.
Yeah, and potentially lose their job. Town justices, all the way up to folks that work here in Monroe County.
Yeah.
This morning, we have 3 separate stories
Damn.
of judges that will no longer be on the bench. And what we need to do when we share these 3 stories is, as a trio and really a community of break room listeners, decide which one is worse and which one's not so bad.
Okay.
With someone sandwiched in the middle. Because some of these stories, oh my God. We'll get into it just after 9 o'clock here in the break room on CMF. Saturday evening, a car drove into a house.
Okay, it happens occasionally.
Happened near the area of Merriman Street, in Anderson Avenue in the city of Rochester. So when police got to the scene around 4 o'clock, the car was gone.
Wait, it left?
Yes, it had left with a ding in the house.
So it
Apparently.
kind of grazed the house?
I don't have details
Yeah,
on what
because
happened.
It didn't say that. It said that nobody was home at the time.
Yes.
So yeah, we don't know like
So it didn't impale into the house.
Yeah.
All right.
how
Side
it was
swipe.
I don't think it
discovered.
can impale into. I think that's redundant.
Excuse me?
I mean, impaling would already imply that it has been into.
I have to impale your face.
You want to impale into my face?
Yeah.
Stupid. You were saying, I'm sorry.
Well, it wasn't enough where the car was stuck. Put it that
So
way.
it could still run.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
well, I mean, as evidenced by
Yes.
the car wasn't there.
Yeah.
So that's a hit and run.
Yes, it is. So here's the thing.
Right.
Police did locate the car just a
Yeah.
little while later.
Just follow the parts.
And the woman was with the car when they
Okay.
found
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was confused by.
So she came clean to police, said the whole thing was an accident. She had misjudged a turn coming out of a parking
All
lot.
right, that should clip the house.
Yeah, quick question. One, how badly do you have to misjudge a turn to hit a house?
Pretty good.
Because I'm looking at a picture, and it looks like the house isn't like on the street. Like there's a small yard
Okay.
Right.
between the
Like a
house.
city yard.
Drove
Yeah,
up
yeah.
a little bit.
All right.
But like, how fast were you turning
this
out
is my
of that?
turn.
Seriously.
Because you'd have to hit the curb and other things before you hit the house, usually,
There's
right?
snow. There's a sidewalk. There's a
Right.
whole bunch of
No,
stuff.
you're going to feel it.
Okay. Now, I will say, authorities said in the story there were no drugs or alcohol involved. So
So clean
nothing
thinking.
there. When it was all said and done, the woman was banged for leaving the scene of an accident, which you brought up, and also driving without insurance, which you've done.
I have done that.
So the insurance thing, that's a biggie. But if she had insurance, the only charge she would have is leaving the scene of an
I mean,
accident.
she wouldn't have left if she had insurance, like you said.
Great point. All right. The only charge I face for accidentally hitting a house, if I stay there, is nothing?
Well, I mean, yeah, you think you'd get reckless driving.
I mean, at minimum, right? I mean,
Yeah.
look, I don't want to see anyone get punished for an accident.
Well,
But I would think once car and house meet,
Even if it's an
could
accident,
you
it's still
argue?
reckless.
Could you argue because it was Saturday night?
Saturday afternoon, it was still light. It was
Yeah.
4
Saturday,
o'clock.
okay, I was gonna say
Pretty
'cause there
bright,
I mean,
yeah.
it was those streets were a little icy. You know, some of those side streets.
Okay, you're right. You're
so
right.
I would think that if you could argue it was a legitimate.
That's a hell of a
accident.
slide, man.
I don't know. If you're going fast enough.
Okay, that's also a valid point. I don't know. Like, I guess I just assumed.
There'd be some charge.
Yeah, not that people are going to intentionally be driving into
Right.
houses, finding out that you're not going to get in trouble if you stand near the car.
Oh,
but-
because if I just accidentally hit anything with my car, I figure I got a problem here with the cops.
Oh, apparently not. I mean, as long as you fill out the accident report and don't go anywhere. I mean, if it's an accident, it's an accident.
yeah.
I mean, you can be at fault for the accident, but it's not a charge.
Okay, all right.
Sometimes there are other charges that will follow, but not necessarily.
All right.
Man, we're pretty loose in the ass with our driving laws,
I
huh?
guess so.
A little bit.
The interesting thing to me is who called.
Probably a
God,
neighbor.
one of the neighbors?
Could have been a neighbor. You'd hear it.
I guess.
You wouldn't
Because
believe.
just based on how quickly they located this woman and her car, I for some reason was like, did she call later thinking? Because did she also need medical attention too?
So it says here in the story on News 8, the woman, who was 29, by the way, was hospitalized and evaluated for what was described as minor injuries.
That's why I was like, maybe she realized like she got out of there and then realized like maybe I need some help, so she called. I don't know.
It says she was found later, so
Okay.
I don't get the impression that she
Yeah.
called. I would have to think Tommy's right. It's got to be a neighbor or someone walking down the street.
Sure.
Hello, somebody just hit a
It's 4
house.
o'clock in the
Yeah.
afternoon. You'd see it.
Would you call the cops if somebody hit a house?
Yeah, I think I'd have to.
Oh, so you're a narc.
Oh, big time. House narc.
You're Mr. I don't call the
I
cops for
know, I
nothing.
know.
No, but if I saw like a car careen into my neighbor's house, I'd have to call.
Okay.
You know how I am about home ownership.
It's just weird
I
that
take it serious.
you could see someone
I
get punched
know.
in the face, like physically assaulted, not call the cops. You could see a house get clipped by a car, and
Didn't
you're calling
see a
immediately.
thing. That would be the easier one to ignore if you wanted to.
Yeah, but the
I don't know.
poor
I
house
just heard a
didn't
weird
do anything.
noise.
The poor house, this poor innocent home.
Standing there.
Sitting there. 252 WCMF. We're talking about this 29-year-old woman. She hit a house with her car on Saturday around 4 o'clock. She left the scene of the accident. When police found her in the car, she said that she had misjudged a turn out of a parking lot and hit the house. She was charged with leaving the scene of an accident, driving without insurance. The insurance is her fault,
Yeah.
as is leaving the scene of an accident. But it kind of seems like if she had just stayed put, there wouldn't be any charges.
You remember I told you I hit a house, the house I rented, and when I first moved here.
Yeah.
Only in the break room can you start a sentence casually with, remember when I told you I hit a house?
I hit my own house.
I hit a house I was renting.
Okay.
I first moved here, and I didn't say nothing, man. Like, I just pulled into the parking lot and hoped, like, because there was like 400 people that, parked there. So I figured, safety in numbers.
Well,
So I didn't say nothing.
Safety and what do you could have done damage to the foundation of the house.
I didn't hit it like that.
How do you know?
No, bro, I was pulling in slow,
Okay.
but I did hit it.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
If cameras existed the way they do now when you were 20, 30,
wouldn't
40
be
years
here.
old. No, like the amount of times he'd have lost his job.
Yeah.
Unpopular radio personality hits house, leaves scene.
But, I had been drinking and stuff, so I wouldn't say nothing.
Did you do damage to your car? Like, was your car
Not
in need
enough.
of repair?
No, it was a junk car.
Not
It was that Geo
I'm
Metro I
just
moved
curious.
here. The thing had like 180,000 miles on a 3-cylinder car.
No, Geo Metro, he could actually park it in the basement through the storm window.
You could. Guys used to pick that car up as a joke when I would do appearances and turn it sideways in the parking lot. I'm not kidding you.
Well, no, they would only do it to get him out of the parking lot. They pointed it towards the exit. Your appearance is now over. All right, let's take a break.
All right.
We have in front of us three
What's it?
judges who,
Oh.
over the weekend, were told, or I guess agreed to,
These are 3 separate incidents.
three completely separate incidents, and there's a reason all three of these happened at the same time, which we'll touch on in a second. And we often joke
Yeah.
here on the show about how we can't go a week without someone in upstate New York, a judge, town justice, doing something so ridiculous you can't believe it.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do with 3 stories at once is try to decide NCAA football power ranking style.
All right.
Which one is Alabama, which one is Georgia, and which one shows up as Clemson. Because some are worse than others. But you can make an argument all are the worst based on details of each story. And we'll get to it next here in the break room on CMF. You know how we joke in the break room about how we can't go a week without a small-town politician
Yes.
scandal? How it seems like only the most inept people are locally put into the highest positions of power? What if I told you
Yeah.
we have 3 of those stories in one day?
Damn.
And that this morning, we have the opportunity to look at 3 small-town judges who have resigned from their positions in disgrace and rank which one of these offenses are the most bothersome.
Excited.
You're hanging out in the break room, Rochester's Classic Rock, 96.5, WCMF, just after 9:30. You know, Super Bowl is over.
Yeah.
Great to watch Mahomes get his ass kicked all night long. And we are into the offseason. But there was one massive story that kind of flew under the radar yesterday in the NFL because of the Super Bowl. And this man, who's got it all figured out.
Big move, huh?
Oh, well, he was going to bring this team back to national prominence because he and he alone, he's a champion.
He's got the touch.
Yeah. He will not be coming back, it seems, to this team next year, which is funny and, Kimmy, also disappointing as a Bills fan all at the same time.
Okay.
And we'll get to it just after 9:30 here in the break room on CMF. So last week, Tommy, the mysterious Commission on Judicial Conduct met. Now, for those who are unaware, they were a group of judges that decides if politicians and judges did enough bad stuff to warrant being removed.
Yeah.
If you're an elected official in New York, most of the time you can't be removed without this council doing it. And we first learned about them all the way back when Judge Leticia Stasio locally got in trouble, and we couldn't figure out how she kept getting to go to work. So this Commission on Judicial Conduct got together to hear the cases of 3 small-town judges accused of inappropriate stuff. All of them decided to resign after the panel heard what they allegedly did.
So they all bailed. All right.
Yeah. Would you like to hear the 3 stories?
Yes.
Okay. The first judge comes from a town just east of us. And this judge was called in for jury duty.
He had to do jury.
He had to do jury duty.
All right.
He did not want to do jury duty, Tommy.
Well, he knows it sucks.
But that's despite the fact that it turns out state law allows a judge to serve on a jury. No problem. So in an effort to get out of jury duty,
What did he do?
he had a private conversation with the judge presiding over the case, and it turns out this conversation was recorded. What I am about to read you is an actual quote from a sitting judge.
Was it supposed to be recorded, or he went out of his way to record it?
I don't know, but
Okay.
it was recorded. Are you ready for the quote?
All right.
Trying to get out of jury duty, this judge said, quote, "I know everybody come in front of me. I know they are guilty. They wouldn't not be in front of me." That was a quote from a sitting judge trying to get out of jury duty.
Not great.
Everyone is guilty,
Yes.
says the judge.
Yeah.
How'd you like your
First
case?
thing you could say as a judge.
So after that came to light, the judge agreed to give up his position and never seek another one again.
All right.
So that's Judge
Yeah,
1.
he's out.
All right, the second judge first lost his job a decade ago. Back in 2012, a strange scene inside a courtroom. The judge promised a friend he would, and I quote, take care of a citation he was given for an expired registration. The only problem, that friend didn't show up for court. Can't dismiss it if the guy's not there. So the judge gave the ticket to a police officer that was already in the courtroom and instructed the police officer to impersonate his friend.
Wait.
Okay.
And the guy did it?
The police officer did it.
Why would he do that?
The judge then dismissed the ticket, quote, in the interest of justice.
Man, that guy's in trouble too.
I don't know if that guy's in trouble.
The
judge told you to do it.
Yeah,
I don't know if you have to do what the judge tells you to do.
I'd be put in a tough, even if you felt like it was wrong, it's like, well, I guess this is
I don't
the
wanna
thing
go to
that
jail.
happens. I don't know.
All right, so
He tells him to pretend to be my friend so I can dismiss
So we're doing
this ticket.
fake court.
Yes, and again, this happened back in 2012. Now, because of this and the blowback it caused, he resigned on his own in 2013. But a new mayor was elected and put him back on the bench in 2016. And he's been serving there ever since. And this issue, because it takes forever, finally got to this judge's panel. And after they heard it, he agreed to step away and never seek a judgeship again.
All right.
That's story 2. The final judge we're going to talk about, she comes from Steuben County. She was arrested after police say she was pulled over and charged with a DWI.
All right.
Okay. And she was facing a felony DWI on account of a 15-year-old child being in the back of the car while she was driving drunk.
So is that Leander's law?
Leandra's law. I don't know why you keep calling it Leander. Did you know a girl in Florida named Leander?
What do you think?
Leandra.
Leandra.
So in November, she could have been charged with that.
Yeah.
But she pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor DWI instead. She agreed to step down and permanently stay off the bench because of the DWI plea. All right. Tommy, these three stories are the most powerful people in the towns they live. The law!
Oh, yeah.
Doing things not becoming of their position. But they are very, very different in the reasons they are bothersome. I will ask you this.
Right.
And the phone number is 252-WCMF, 252-9263. If we were to rank these stories from most bothersome to least bothersome, guy who thinks everybody's guilty as a judge, guy who tells cop, pretend to be my friend so I can dismiss a ticket, judge who gets a DWI with a 15-year-old in the car. Which one most to least bothersome, Tommy?
All right, so the first two actually affect your job. You being a judge.
Yes.
The third one is drinking and driving, but that doesn't affect the bench in the moment.
In the moment, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So for a judge to say everybody is guilty, to me, is the worst.
Okay, so that's one.
That's one.
All right, what's two?
Now you're talking drinking and driving with a teenager.
With a 15-year-old in the car.
Right. And then the other one was
you pretend to be my friend and I'm going to dismiss this ticket.
Fake court.
Yep, fake court.
I think the way you presented them almost drops the way I would rank them.
So you are more bothered by
The ones that are directly happening at work.
Because you're a judge.
Okay.
And you're being judged by other judges. So I'm thinking, like, out of the three, like, you tarnish the bench. And I'm thinking, as a fellow judge, I'm pissed off.
Okay, but
like, people drink and drive, which is terrible, too, with the kid and everything. But
couldn't
that's
that
outside
also,
the court.
But couldn't that also affect your job?
It could, but that's
'cause
not
if
in the
you're-
moment.
But how are you going to look at the cases that have to do with that moving forward? You know what I mean? Like, are you going to be more
I'm not saying
lenient on
it's like-
people, or are you going to be less lenient on people based on the
But-
fact that you've done it yourself?
Great
you
point.
know?
I mean, that's a little bit of a reach.
I disagree. I think that when you go through stuff like this, I mean, you become a hypocrite.
Have that stricken from the record. I say...
How about at its most base level, your judgment in driving drunk with a
Yeah.
teenager in the car? Your job is judgment, and
Yeah.
you did not show great judgment drinking and driving with a teenager in the car.
right.
But here's the thing. You are welcome to your opinion, so you're going to rank them.
Kind of as you presented them.
All right, everybody's guilty judge is the worst. Pretend court and real court is the second
You're
worst.
making a mockery of the court system.
You just wanted to say that because it's in like
It's a
every show.
mockery.
All right, Kimmy?
Yeah.
A nation turns its lonely eyes to you.
Yeah.
How do you rank these inappropriate judges?
See, I'm kind of with Tommy on the first one.
Okay, so everybody's guilty.
I think that everybody's guilty thing, like, how am I ever going to trust that guy to actually fairly, do his job?
You couldn't.
I think for me, the drinking and driving one definitely comes second,
Okay.
only because it's bad on two levels. Like I said, like it's a bad thing you did outside of your job that's also going to affect your job.
That's a great point.
in
Great
my
point.
opinion.
Okay.
And then the third one, it's bad, but I could see you saying, "Oh, made a mistake, never do that again," and move on.
Which, by the way, he
You
did
know?
it in 2012, got
Yeah.
back on the bench in 2016. It is 9 years later.
Yeah.
And it took 9 years
Yeah.
to get that guy taken off the bench. And that happened in Erie County. This wasn't like up in the North
Yeah.
Country, right, with Jed in a yellow camo
Right.
vest holding his shotgun, small town judge. That's Erie County.
Yeah.
252 WCMF, 3 separate judges over the weekend agreed to step down from their positions, small-time town justices, and never seek another judgeship again after this mysterious commission on judicial conduct heard their cases and got them to agree to this. But we're trying to figure out which one is worse. It is remarkable how
What's that?
we see over and over again these small-town justices make up their own rules in their own heads.
Yeah.
Right? You can impersonate someone else in my courtroom. Just do it.
Yeah.
Everyone is guilty. Can I also go back to that real quick?
What's that?
That quote that I read you was an actual quote from the audio, according to the story.
Yeah.
This is a town justice. And look, I'm a dumb man. You're a dumb man. Kimmy, semi-smart, except for math.
Yeah.
This man is judging people in town. You ready? Quote.
Yeah.
I know everybody come in front of me. I know they are guilty.
I know everybody come in front of me.
I know everybody come in front of me. I know they are guilty. They wouldn't not be in front of me. That's the actual quote.
That's his English.
Come on,
So
man.
would that- so would
Fake
that-
it.
But he
Would
didn't
that
know he was, like,
potentially?
in public.
Would that potentially affect past cases for him?
Could.
So I always thought so, but no, we found
Or
with
is
Leticia.
it just a done deal?
Look, we found with Leticia Stasio, right?
Yeah.
The judge all the way back. And for those who don't remember that story, just to catch you up real quick, she was pulled over for a drinking and driving charge, eventually convicted of something along those lines, and they wanted her removed from the bench, but she didn't want to go. And then she stopped showing up to work, but she still was collecting a paycheck.
Right.
And they were trying to get her out, but they couldn't do it, and it started to show that maybe she had some legitimate issues.
Yeah.
And it took, 2 years to get her removed from
at
this
least.
mystery panel?
Yeah.
And they never, as far as I know, Kimmy, went back and looked at her cases, despite the fact that
But you would have to prove that's a little different because
Yeah.
you would have to prove that she was drunk while she was judging that particular case,
Oh.
or her mind was clouded with alcohol.
I wasn't talking alcohol. I was talking like she had problems like with reasoning.
But again,
and-
you would have to prove that this is his opinion
Yeah.
about his
Yeah.
own
Good
how
point.
he does
Straight
his
upsetting.
good
job.
point. Good
Yeah.
point.
So I would think if I had a case
Yeah.
with that guy and I got screwed, I'm going, hey man,
See what
he
you can
just
do.
admitted
Yeah.
he just rubber stamps guilty on everything.
I just
I
don't,
think he got a shot.
I just don't know how easy it is to go back in based on a judge and get your case looked at. And again, it's a
Or
small
just thrown out.
it's a small town justice. I mean, the worst case he could have seen is a guy that was doing 100 and a 30. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Or some kind of claim.
Exactly. Who knows? I mean, let's not forget there was that judge we talked about last year who allegedly pulled a gun on a man facing charges while sitting on a bench outside his courtroom. And that guy argued to the panel that he was right in doing so. I mean, all of these people, the men and the women,
Yeah.
had to have this panel force them to resign. None of them had the common sense to walk away from the job before someone else told
Oh, they're
them.
not going willingly.
But that's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like, someone else had to tell them, innocent until proven
Yeah.
guilty, can't pretend you're friend to somebody else, don't point a gun at people while you're wearing a judge's robe.
You got to force him. You got to force him out.
And I know that sounds funny, but it's also sad. Because you think if you live in Monroe County,
Yeah.
you're not going to end up anywhere near these tiny, remote New York towns where this can affect you. But a reminder, if you are driving through these places,
That happened to me, man.
yeah,
I had to go to night court in Dansville.
you got it. Which one of the worst 80s sitcoms.
Lot of fun. Yes.
But I'm saying, man, like Tommy said, you get arrested, pulled over, any trouble you get in, from a speeding ticket to someone claiming you did something wrong while you were there, you are put in front of these judges. And then for you, it does become a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
It's a huge deal.
Your fast talking city mouth.
It is just remarkable because, look, man, there are smart people in these towns. Of course there are smart people in these towns, right? I know, like,
They seem to hide them though, but yeah,
how do you always end up with these people?
because these are people that want power. Like nobody wants these. Some people just want that power.
I guess, but
Well,
like, there's nobody. I'm sorry, Kimmy. There's nobody that feels like, you know what? I should do the right thing here. I kind of know what I'm doing, like for the sake of the
But
community.
they may
Well, is
go in
there-
that way and come out differently.
but
you
is there nobody else that wants the job? Because, like you said, some of these people have gotten the job not once but twice.
know? Yeah.
You're not wrong. Like, I wonder what the average town justice race, like how many candidates there are in a small town.
They may go uncontested.
That's what I
right?
mean. Yeah,
You know?
it's okay. That guy's the judge now. Because again, for those who don't know, to be a town justice, you don't need to be a lawyer.
No.
Unlike a judge here in Rochester, Monroe County, right? So, like, and that also makes sense. How many lawyers are living in these small towns?
Yeah.
And it would make you make more money practicing privately.
Yeah. I mean, most of these people are business owners, farmers. They got something going on.
I mean, the guy who we talked about, and I love this story every time this comes
Yeah.
up. The judge who was arrested after he beat himself over the head with a toilet seat on the steps of the courthouse, this is a real story,
Yes.
and then claimed that two men attacked him so
Got
he
jumped.
could get his hands on prescription medication. If I'm not mistaken,
The old crapper gang.
he worked as a landscaper at the cemetery.
Yeah. And it was a judge.
That was a job. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was his job. Which, nothing wrong with that job.
No.
But, like, when you combine landscaper at the cemetery and fake toilet seat lit assault to get your hands on prescription drugs,
Yeah.
252 WCMF. We're talking about these three small town justices that agreed to be removed after their hearing was seen by the Commission on Judicial Conduct. One judge trying to get out of jury duty who was on tape caught saying he believes everyone in front of him is guilty. A second judge who all the way back in 2012 had a police officer impersonate his friend who didn't show up to court so he could, quote, take care of a citation in the interest of justice. And a third judge from Steuben County, she was arrested, charged with DWI. She was facing felony charges on account of a 15-year-old kid being in the back of the car. She pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor DWI. All three of them agreed to leave. All three of them decided to never seek another judgeship. Let's talk to Josh. Hey, Josh, how are you, buddy?
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Good, Josh, what do you got?
I guess on the judges, I would pick the one that said that everybody feels me as the worst one.
Okay.
But other than that, when you guys started talking about speeding tickets in Steuben County, it reminded me I got one going through, I think it was Steuben or Wayne, somewhere in there. Cop tried to tell me that he saw, based on his eyes driving at me, that he could tell I was going 80 miles an hour in a 55.
Man, he's good.
No, I think that is legal, by the way. I remember having this discussion.
Well, that's how they used to do it before the radar guns.
Well, in order to get an accurate judge of speed, you have to either be sitting or you'd have to be pacing them. You can't judge someone's speed driving at them.
I mean,
you might be able to tell they're going fast, but you can't sit there and tell me that I was going 80.
All right, Josh, now here's the thing. Josh, now we're on a show, and I'm not here to persecute.
Wise-ass city boy out here.
Running his mouth out there in Steuben or Wayne. I don't even know where I was. That's how fast I was going.
You was doing country 80.
Josh?
No, I was. If I was speeding, it was only maybe about
Step out of the car.
miles over. My fiance was staring at the GPS trying to guide me, so
Okay.
I wasn't trying to do anything stupid.
Okay.
The cop came around the corner. We were out on one of the, I don't want to call it an expressway, but it's like a nice dual-lane road going through the woods.
Nice.
And the cop came around the corner driving at me while I was stupidly drinking out of a jug of milk. And then as soon
Can I
as
time out real quick? Let me just time out real quick.
that part was dumb. Like, yeah, that
Well,
was
no.
stupid.
It's not even the. Go ahead, Kimmy.
Milk? Josh, your milk is your
Road trip drink?
Road trip drink.
Get the
of
mustache
choice?
and everything.
It was very early in the morning. We were heading out to a vacation, so it was like kind of like breakfast.
Vacation drink?
No, I mean, here's the thing.
All right.
Here's the thing. Like, Josh, I feel your pain, feeling
Yeah.
like,
Road milk.
I'm not going to get past the milk thing.
I am the most bothered by milk out of a jug
When you
while
said
driving a
I
car.
stupidly took a sip of, I was not thinking milk.
Yeah, I was
after
waiting
that
for Jack
sentence.
Daniels or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, no.
And you were doing
I don't drink
80.
alcohol, period. But, like, it was like the last bit of the jug. I was just like, I'm not going to pour it in a cup. We
Yeah,
got to
we've
go.
all
I'm
been
just
there.
gonna
I'm taking my gallon of milk with me.
But, yeah, he just so happened to come around the corner as I was drinking out of it.
Uh-huh.
And he went past me, immediately turned around and pulled up behind me and pulls me over.
Okay.
And I look at my fiance. I'm like, was I speeding? She's like, you were only going about like 2 or 3 over. You weren't doing anything crazy. You weren't even going 60.
All right. Well, Josh, so did you end up just paying the ticket and being done with it?
Oh, absolutely not. I wasn't going to take that because he's up there. He's going to try and tell me that
Okay.
he got me at 80 miles an
All
hour
right.
in a 55.
All right, so
which-
we've had look. I feel your pain, and I get that you were passionate about this. In fact, I feel like I'm hearing your entire defense when you walked into court that night, Josh. We've had you on for
I didn't have to go to court.
What's that?
I didn't have to go to court.
Why?
So I had called.
It was June, Dairy Month.
I don't know if I don't mean to say this as an ad, but I called a company called the Ticket Clinic, and they got a local representative to go to court for me, like a local
It's a thing.
attorney
Okay.
to go to court for me and get it all figured out. And at the end of it, I took, in the process, I took a couple of safe driving tests online and whatnot, just to try and help make the process go along. At the end of it, I got a letter saying, hey, just go to the office over in that county, give them a check for $50. They dropped everything. We watched the body camera footage.
What did it cost to hire those guys, Josh?
What was that?
What did it cost to hire the ticket people you mentioned?
I paid, I think, around $300.
That's a lot of money. You could have just went, Josh. I mean, you could have loaded up the
The
trunk
speeding
with.
ticket would have been about $250.
You could have loaded up the trunk with milk, taken the ride all the way back out there, been happy back and forth.
Well, because I've
Why
had
am I
a couple of
asking
speeding tickets before.
Okay, I get it. You got to keep
I'm
your
not
license.
perfect.
Okay, I
Not
understand.
perfect, yeah.
Josh,
He needs to
So
go
I
out
was
for more
doing
milk.
everything to try and reduce the points because they were trying to slap
All
me
right.
with
we
like.
got it.
yeah, I get you. Josh, I gotta do anything else. But thank you for the call, buddy. I really appreciate it. Have a good rest of the day. There goes Josh.
He
All right.
lost me after milk.
I'm sorry. I know
Milk
that.
swigging Josh.
I know that was a lot there.
Yeah.
And normally we don't go long.
I don't know what I would do if I saw somebody with a full-on jug of milk chugging it mid-ride.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Against my better judgment,
Yeah.
I let that go.
Well, I
Trying.
wanted to know what happened.
Well, I just wanted to know. I assumed milk would play into this again at the end of the story.
No.
Because his explanation was not satisfactory enough for
No.
me. Where do you even keep the jug of milk in the
there's
car?
no cup holder for milk.
Yeah.
Does his fiance hold the milk for him?
But then it's going to get warm if she keeps it between her legs or something.
That's how he likes it.
Warm thigh milk.
Give me some more thigh milk, baby. We're running late.
He also said it was breakfast.
Yeah,
Drinking milk
he goes, duh.
No, come on, guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's like, well, it's breakfast time. Oh, okay. my
over your
bad.
cereal,
I
fine.
usually spring for orange
He's
juice.
just drinking straight ass milk.
Yeah, I was okay.
Big milk.
Can I also, not to go down a milk rabbit hole here, when you go to the gas station,
Yeah.
right? Because I've been traveling a lot with my daughter playing hockey. They have like a whole cooler case full of milks.
Yeah.
And some of them are flavored milks.
Mhm.
And I've never seen anyone buy the milk from the gas station. Not like the gallon you'd bring home. I'm talking about like a single serve.
Yeah. Like
milk.
you could put it in a couple.
Who is that for?
I've always thought for kids, like little kids.
At the gas station?
Well, like you're on a trip with your kids and they want milk,
Okay.
like chocolate milk or like that strawberry nasty looking milk.
Maybe you're right. I just assumed it would there were truckers out there that were just like pounding milk.
Or like it would go with
Of all the
something you
trucking
bought,
tunes
like
I ever heard
Oreos.
growing up in the South,
Yeah.
milk never shows up.
Are you
a lot
sure?
of amphetamines,
Okay.
loneliness, alcoholism. I never heard 6 days on the road. I'm gonna go get me some milk tonight.
But I mean, they do sell like donuts and stuff, cookies. If you don't drink coffee, maybe you need
All
the
right,
milk to
man,
go
all right.
with it.
Okay, all right.
Still be weird to look down in my cup holder and see a
Big old trucker milk.
milk. And here's the thing: don't get me wrong, dairy farmers, love you,
Mm.
love you to death.
I like milk like in my coffee and
Yeah.
stuff. Just straight up.
It's an additive.
Additive. It's an
Yeah.
additive.
It's not my
Yeah.
go-to.
All right, now we got the phones lighting up. I feel like we've offended several milk people.
Milk. We got some milkers.
No, because like here's the thing: like you'd have to be a milk person.
You do.
To take an entire gallon of milk
On the road with
on
you.
the road because there was only a little bit left. I ain't got the time. And also, why would taking a swig out of a jug of milk make the cop look twice? It's a jug. No alcohol bottle
Yeah.
looks anything close to a jug of milk.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I don't.
Maybe you wanted to check the date on the milk. I don't know.
Okay, let's take a break.
All right.
This is disappointing and hilarious at the same time.
Oh.
I mean, it's hilarious because anybody in the know knew how this was going to end.
Oh.
You and I both understood that when this guy showed up in New York, that it was going to be a disaster.
Oh.
And we watched it play out in front of our face. That being said,
Yeah.
if you are a Bills fan, you hoped that the Jets were going to sign this guy to another 5-year contract.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they let him know what their decision was
Yeah.
is peak ending to this story. And we'll get to it next here in the break room. On CMF! This is the end.
This is it?
Look, anybody with a brain and a pair of eyes knew it was going to end.
It's over, baby.
But what's funny is not that it's over the way we all saw it coming.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny is how they told this guy it was over. You're hanging out in the break room, Rochester's Classic Rock, 96.5, WCMF. So as great as that Super Bowl was last night, watching Patrick Mahomes just to get a consistent ass-kicking for 60 minutes of football. And the ultimate middle finger, Kimmy.
What's that?
Eagles backup quarterback Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
Not only getting in the game, was allowed to throw a pass in the Super Bowl, which I do feel bad for him. That's the only pass you're ever going to throw to the Super Bowl, and you're 0 for 1 for the rest of your life.
Got to take a couple knees.
Yeah, it was fun. Good for him. But there was a major NFL story that kind of got pushed under the radar yesterday because of the Super Bowl.
What happened?
The New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers met to discuss his future. Now, for those who don't know, the Jets have a new general manager and a new head coach, former NFL defensive back Aaron Glenn. And the Jets, in so many words, according to several reports, told Aaron Rodgers they are going to go in a different direction.
Oh, that's when you know you're really getting canned. Okay, but it's polite.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we're moving on.
Yes, it looks as if Aaron Rodgers will be done in New York. In the 18 games he played, he won 6. A .333 winning percentage as the quarterback of the New York Jets, where he got whatever he wanted all the time. Okay. But here's the thing.
What happened?
It's the way they did it.
What did they do?
So Aaron Rodgers, if I'm not mistaken, lives in California.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
He had to fly in from somewhere
to
have a face-to-face
Oh, so
meeting.
they flew him back to New York.
He flew to New Jersey
to
have a face-to-face meeting with the new head coach for them to only tell him we're going in a different direction. Which makes it could have been an email. This meeting could have been an email. And we're not talking about walking upstairs in your office to sit with your boss. You had to get on a plane, fly across the country, get in a car, drive to the facility, sit down, shake hands, do introductions because they're all new. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Would you like some water?
Now listen.
And you can take it with you.
I don't think we're going to need you anymore. Get your ass back on the plane and go back to California. God.
I mean, I am surprised that Aaron Rodgers didn't just say, get ahead of it, knowing this was coming, and just say, you know what, I'm calling it quits. This is my retirement announcement. Because where is he going at this point?
Well, that's just it. The fact that he got on that plane and flew to New York lets me know he's not retiring. He wants to play.
Oh, I would think, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like that message that didn't come. So you're right.
Okay,
like,
so
he's going to want to continue.
There are other reports this weekend that says he wants to continue to play. And when you talk about like where he ends up, I can't see a contender that wants to give him a shot.
So nobody's going to take him.
Well, no, someone will take him.
Or something. I mean, who's he going to start for?
Oakland. He needs a quarterback real bad.
So they're going to be Vegas soon, right?
Yeah, they are in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Where have you? Hello.
Well, you said Oakland. You threw me.
Oh, you're right. I
You
did.
say
I wrote down Oakland.
yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
Where have you been?
I love how I make fun of you, and I did it without even realizing. Excuse me. Vegas, the Raiders. Tennessee needs a quarterback. These are all teams that may not be sold on the guys that are in the draft, so you wait one more year. And maybe,
so he's just patchwork.
Yeah, you hope to catch.
but knowing
you got the
what
Giants too. He's already got his place in New Jersey.
The Giants would be the worst option for him, knowing what he just did to the Jets and their coaching staff. You think Brian Daboll wants to take that on?
He may not have a choice. I mean, look,
but I'm saying, like, as an organization, why do you want a guy in there that's going to come in and do that? Because you're not going to, at this point, you're not building around him. He's not going to last much longer.
Okay, I'm going to do some quick football talk.
I like the Giants.
Okay, so let's talk the Giants. Here's why that might make sense. Brian Daboll, former Bills offensive coordinator, who's the head coach out there, and Joe Shane, who was a general manager who worked in the front office under Brandon Beane here. They're not going to make it out of next year. And if I'm the Giants, the owner said this as much, he's running out of patience. I don't want to draft a quarterback because I don't want those guys making the decision on a future they won't be here for. So you let them sign Aaron Rodgers. If he catches lightning in a bottle, you get to keep coaching.
So
if not,
tank it again?
Well, not a tank, but if it doesn't work, I gave you a chance. You had a legendary quarterback, clean break. We move forward.
Okay, and you get some. You'll probably get some more night games, some more primetime games because it's New York and it's Aaron Rodgers.
I think that people are sick of Aaron Rodgers. If you want my honest,
yeah, but it's still the New York Giants. I mean, they always seem to want these New York teams in prime time.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong about that.
I mean, if you put him in Tennessee, you're never going to see him. You put him in Vegas, you're never going to see him.
Vegas maybe only because you got the Brady-Rodgers connection. Brady's a minority owner now. I don't know if you heard on every story ever.
He's doing pretty good, yeah.
So the best case scenario for him, and it would be a long shot though, Kimmy, Pittsburgh.
I don't know.
Both the QBs they had this season, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, they only were on contracts for 1 year in Pennsylvania. They could, in theory, let both walk, sign Rodgers at a steep discount. I mean, I don't know if the Steelers would want to do that. They're a very well-run organization.
That's what I mean.
But I don't know.
see that happening. But crazier things have happened.
All right.
So here's the thing.
What's that?
With 252-WCMF, 252-9263, with reports that Aaron Rodgers was flown to New Jersey only to be told to his face by the new coaching staff that they will not want him next year.
Aaron Rodgers also seems picky about where he lives.
What do you mean by that?
Like, I feel like he thinks like he's kind of like he's got that celebrity factor.
Oh, he wants a
now.
coast city?
Yeah.
New York,
I
LA,
think he does.
Hollywood?
Like, I think he wants to be in like a bigger city at this point, you know.
Okay, but you may not have a choice. And Vegas is is Vegas a big enough city?
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Or Oakland?
I don't know where he stands on things anymore. So I
He's
could be
completely weird. I
wrong.
can see him be that rich guy that sleeps on couches, like somebody's couch.
Yeah,
for
I
a
get what
week.
you're saying. Like
he just doesn't leave.
Hunter S. Thompson, but with an arm.
Yeah.
So I'm torn here.
Why?
On one hand, I was really hoping the Jets were going to give Aaron Rodgers one more season, right?
Because you wanted to see him completely burned to the ground.
No, I really think he was coming into his own towards the end of the season, Tommy. Right? I mean, past the point that I'm a petty Bills fan that loves watching this happen over and over and over again. You forget the money and the draft capital that the Jets gave to acquire Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
It was a ton. The fact that they are cutting bait like this is a massive indictment on what Aaron Rodgers is. But on the other hand, if it ends like this, it's hilarious. Because maybe the most arrogant, obnoxious, know-nothing, know-it-all in NFL history just got served a massive piece of humble pie.
And the Bills had a big hand in this.
How so?
They crushed him in that opening game, and they ruined that season.
Yeah.
They never got on track. So you could almost put that on the Bills taking him out, and they never got on their feet.
It was over before it even started.
But see, that's what sucks, though. And that's
That was opening day.
Yeah, it was
right?
opening night.
Yep.
But that's the one thing that sucks about this story is you're under the assumption that if he doesn't tear his ACL,
Well, you'll never know.
okay, but or not his ACL, his Achilles, that he plays well next season.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he wouldn't have.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't have worked. It had nothing to do with his ability and everything to do with the way he treats people around him.
So he's nuts. And he's mean.
Yes. I mean, look, his offensive coordinator, failure. All his receivers they brought in, failure. Devontae Adams is going to change it, failure.
Yeah.
Fire the head coach, failure. Failure, 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 failure. And then he goes, whoa, 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 whoa. He's the Mike Muley of NFL quarterbacks. Whoa, 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 whoa. Because, I love the way this ended. It makes me feel so warm
All
inside.
right.
But I want to see him keep playing because I'm enjoying the car.
I wouldn't mind seeing him retire, become a talking head.
No, you don't want that.
Yeah, you do. He's nuts.
Who's hiring him?
I don't know if he
Podcasts, idiots.
Oh, he has one of those already. He
No,
goes
but
on the
I could
Pat
see
McAfee
him.
show.
I could see him still being interviewed and stuff. I mean, he is a huge name.
It gets to a point where people just get sick of your shtick.
Yeah, and
I mean, you
don't
know
think
this.
He's not going to like playing by the rules. You know what I mean?
Well, he
Like,
don't
and
play by
those
the
guys, when they do those pregame, postgame shows, like they do have to stick to a certain standard, right? And I don't think that's something he would be cool with.
I mean, she's not wrong.
He could take over Jeopardy.
No, I think that ship has sailed.
No, how about if he creates his own Jeopardy?
Oh,
Aaron Jeopardy.
We'll have to work on the name.
Tonight on Aaron Jeopardy.
We got Instagram messages coming in. We're talking about where Aaron Rodgers could land now that there were reports that the Jets flew him in face-to-face with the new coaching staff only to tell him, get the hell out. Anthony writes us, he won't go to Vegas because he wants to canter Adams. I'm assuming he meant Devontae Adams, and it autocorrected. The wide receiver to go with him, and Adams wanted out of Vegas to go with Rodgers. I don't think they have the ability as a team to be like, we're you get both of us or none of us. You saw what we did in New York.
Yes.
You saw us completely burn that franchise to the ground. If you want that, you got to take both of us, man. And I do wonder.
What's that?
And I ask this question out loud because, there are NFL legends that ended their careers in other cities that you forget about. For example, Joe Namath finished as an LA Ram, but you never remember that.
No.
Johnny Unitas finished as a Charger.
Okay.
You never remember that, right? Jerry Rice, bunch of different towns, same with Emmitt Smith. And I guess the idea was you remember the greatness over the failure.
Yeah.
But I think you can also make the argument that back in that day, there wasn't a ton of footage of those guys playing for those teams, which is why you kind of forgot.
Okay.
Whereas in today's day and age, him showing up with the Jets was so hyped, and he said so much stuff, and he was in the news all the time, that this may be the first NFL legend that is remembered more for his failure at the end than he was for his greatness when he played in his
So
prime.
you won't think of him as a Packer, but more as a Jet.
I mean, I will only because I'm a Bills fan. What I'm curious about is outside of Western New York, how he's remembered. Is it multiple MVPs in a Super Bowl ring, or is it burnt New York City to the ground?
Saying crazy stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
Usually the crazy wins out.
Yeah, because it could continue. You know what I mean? So.
Because that's what you're walking out on.
Yeah, and
It'll be the crazy.
Okay. I can get behind that.
I mean, Brett
be
Favre,
interesting,
same way.
too.
When I think of Brett Favre, I don't even think about him winning a Super Bowl.
Well, he went wild and crazy.
Right, but
And
I mean,
continued.
for a while. And he did it as a Jet, too. And he was sitting in
Right.
his hotel room doing all that stuff.
Yep. With that woman that eventually became a legitimate reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I mean, everything with the Mississippi and the welfare funds for his daughter's volleyball team.
Yeah, I never think
Google
of
it.
him as a Packer anymore.
Yeah. Then getting confronted by former Jet Mark Gastineau for giving Michael Strahan.
That was so
Like,
funny.
You know how when guys wrap up their career and they become a little humble. They thank people along the way for doing stuff for them, and they'll tell these stories about the good times and the bad. Who does Aaron Rodgers thank?
Well, here's the thing, though. He had several guys that were willing to come with him to New York, right? Devontae Adams
that's a
did
good
it.
point.
Alan Lazard did it.
Yeah.
He's offensive coordinator. Nathaniel Hackett did it. So maybe he is liked amongst a certain segment of the
But
player population?
does that humbleness show up at the end?
No,
We'll find
Kimmy,
out.
if there's one thing we can count on with Aaron Rodgers, humility.
All right.
We come back, wrap it up, tell you what we're doing tomorrow next here on CMF. That's going to be a Rapparoo.
Howdy-o, Monday post Super Bowl Rapparoo.
Yep, for Monday Break Room CMF. That makes tomorrow Tuesday, and it's a monumental Tuesday.
Monumental.
Well, Kimmy's got her post from the neighborhood app.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that segment that we do.
Mm-hmm. Were we monumenting in the hood?
You got it, yes. She's going to read it out loud as usual, right? But this will not be a standard everyday where they're whining. Well, last week, we gave listeners the opportunity to change one rule for where they whining for 2025.
That's right.
And we put our top 3 that you guys selected up on our website. The vote is down. We have our winner.
Oh, we do.
But it was instructed to only send the winner to Kimmy. So you know which rule won.
I do.
Okay.
we don't
have
know.
the results.
You and I do not.
I do not.
So we will find out tomorrow, all together,
Damn.
right before Where They Whining, what the new rule is going to be.
Okay.
And it will, whatever one it is, alter the way we all play Where They Whining for the history of this game. Or until you guys realize, wait a minute, I don't like the rule that I picked.
Until next year's rule change.
I want to change the rule that I fought for, please. So an all-new...
No takesies backsies.
Oh, so now the commissioner, she even looked at her nails when she did it. That takes it back. So an all-new, rule-driven, Where They Whining tomorrow, just after 9 o'clock here in the break room on CMF. For Kimmy, who has gone drunk with power with her commissioner role.
I put the power in your hands. This is a nod on me.
For Tommy Muley, who has gone drunk with power despite never having any power over anything. My name is Pat Tubby. We'll see you tomorrow morning in the break room, 6 a.m. on 96.5 WCMF.